this. There we go. There we go. All right. What's up? What's up? What's up? Finally decompressed from work. Much better. Ah, decompression from work. Feels so good. What I do for work? I don't know really how to say it without basically saying where I work at. That's the problem. Though I will say, I mean, I've mentioned it before, but basically I just work with tossing wings and chicken stuff like that. Add a little bit of add a little fast casual spot. What the dog doing? This dog? Oof. I know the other two are just chilling over there, being beans after they had a little moment of like, oh shit, Uncle, Uncle's home. Especially Vito, he goes on one when one of us comes back. Ugh. Now what we all doing? How we all doing for this fine little evening, morning, or whatever the fuck? Howdy, friend. What's up? I like how I pretty much get like the leftovers of Phoebe's stream in a way. It's just not that that's a bad thing. I just find it kind of a little funny because how late she streams and when she usually wraps up, I'm like just starting mine or it's already going for a minute. 137 here, same here. Shit, West Coaster, huh? Oops. Ah. Trying to do some man spreading, and I almost knocked my phone over. 937 in UK. Ooh, it's a nice early morn. Cali, I'm right above you. Though I'm more of a neighbor to Washington more so than Cali. But, you know. The rest of it goes amazingly. Thanks. It's more nights. I mean, there's nothing left of my day now. This is literally pretty much it. So I'm tired and go to bed. I mean, I'm not even joking. There's really not much else at this point. 3:37 Central Time Zone. Yep. You're in the middle of the country. I guess my playlist is just starting off with a bunch of rap right now. Had some Damage, Figgy Baby, and now some Billy the Fridge. Man, when is our good old Fridge going to be making some more music? He does streams a lot. I've noticed that. I tune into those every so often. But I'm just like, when is my boy making some tunes? Apparently, he's at least like working on an album. Apparently, I've overheard that at least a few times last time I tuned into a show. Getting another one of these bad boys going. Name one bad thing about America. Good luck. America, it in itself. That's literally of like, where do I start, bro? What do you mean, good luck? Pause Eagle rap songs be lost media now. I know because of fucking Marshall Manson slash Andrew. He went like right wing Christo weirdo on like Twitter and shit now, and basically like had a fucking like like a weird vendetta against them, and pretty much was like fuck them pretty much entirely. And then he became a weirdo Christian. Well, actually, he became that first, and then that vendetta thing happened, and then he became like a right winger. On top of all that, and yeah, unfortunately, it's just like, I mean, it's not like it's inherently outright lost media, but no one's uploaded that on YouTube as far as I know. I mean, there's only like a couple songs that Marshall's like kept up. Well, Andrew now, but like at this point, I don't really. There's just nothing, unfortunately. Okay, well, name one bad thing about the founding of America. Good luck with that. A lot of founding fathers owned slaves, and men weren't created equal. A major hypocrisy within his founding document. I doubt anyone saved him, sadly. I wanted to, I just couldn't reach out to him. Because also, I hate to say it, but he kind of was like, fuck you too, a little bit to me, because I did kind of like, in a different community that he was a tangent to, was just like, all right, well, I straight up asked, like, anyone know what the fuck is up with him? Because he seems like he's kind of gone unhinged a little bit, and he got wind of that, and it kind of spread a little, and the dude who had that community, low entry videos, was like, bro, what the fuck? Really, bro? And I was like, I generally was not even trying to start shit. I was just wondering if people knew what the hell was up with him, because I'm just like, honestly. And he was just like, well, just don't do that again, because I'm not trying to be lumped in with that. I'm like, I ain't lumping nobody. If he's thinking that, then I think it also validates how I feel about like he's kind of unhinged, because he's literally like taking every tiny little slight as like your enemy now kind of thing. You know what I mean? Just a weird time. Name one bad thing about American Samoa. Good luck. Uh, they don't really have good healthy diets, just because a lot of them tend to be overweight. But that's not inherent a fault of Samoans or anything. That's just because of spam and other shit that's like imported and processed foods and shit. So it's not even really inherently their fault. Billy dropped an album last year that was a collaboration album. I did not know about that. I'll have to check that out. And they aren't granted citizenship at birth. That's also exceptionally stupid, because they're an American territory. How come Puerto Rico and like even Guam, like these other territories of the United States, that you can still be a citizen, but I guess for whatever reason, if you're an American Samoan, you can't. Is it because they're also are like technically their own like semi-independent country or something? Like I like aren't weren't they been trying to push for a long while to try to be like their own independent country? So is that probably like a part of it? I really don't know, honestly. Did you know that Utah has a large Pacific Islander population? There's even a Tongan street gang in Salt Lake. I did not know that. I'm sure Logan's dad, because he used to be a part of the Salt Lake Police Department, might know about that, though. But I never knew anything about that shit. That's interesting. Honestly, especially with the West Coast in general, you would think that there'd be a lot of them in like Oregon, California, but I wouldn't think Utah. Oh, my guess is because of the Mormons, because they would like go out, into different countries and different places around the world, and do different services, and then try to get converts and shit. It's probably that. If honestly, now I'm thinking about it, I mean, probably not, but Mormons, big go, yeah, smart guy. Well, I live with one that was raised Mormon too, so I know about what the Mormons do. I will say at least there's a lot of different like chapters that aren't actually that terrible and actually are pretty progressive leaning. Like there's one in Portland that is actually like okay for the most part. I mean, I don't like the religion, nor do I like any religion, frankly. But it's like at least some of them are still chill, but they also just kind of weird me the fuck out because dead ass like they always are like dressed way too nice just for being casual. And they got like name tags and shit. Like it's like, what are you trying to do? Like sell me on like some like MLM scheme? Fun fact: the Mormon churches, Spanish Whites, and Tongans have segregated separate services on Sundays. So that is so weird. Where's the Mormon headquarters? Utah. I'm assuming Salt Lake. Keep that in mind. Try even naming one single thing about war. Dude, have you ever heard that song? War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Go listen to that song, and I think you'll hear it enough. I just referred my answer to that song. Because, yeah, war's good for fucking nothing. Like, literally, the only time I generally think that war is valid is in a sense of defense. Like, yeah, your territory and your shit's getting invaded because of an unjust claimant or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I mean, that would be agreeable. Or if there's at least another exception to me in my mind where it's like there's such utter atrocity where like the internal affairs of that nation are unable to stop it if anything proliferate it further, where there needs to legitimately be a foreign slash outside interference to halt that utter violation of human rights or liberties, including but not limited to it if they're also invading other countries. I mean, there's only like those two exceptions, to me, as far as I'm concerned, where war is actually like somewhat meritable. Thus, because of the dismerit of others using it as a casus belli to enact their fucking ideas of what they think is just. Especially when they have a very no leaning bent to it, where they think they're superior to other people. Provo is the real Mormon capital. Salt Lake's what Denver is sold as, and Provo is what Salt Lake is sold as. Mm. I kind of forgot about Provo, to be honest, because that is, definitely like I'm pretty sure that's like where the Mormons really officially, after Joseph Smith died, settled in. I think that's where Brigham Young, eventually like took the rest of the, the flock, the church, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Let's just be honest, it was a cult, but whatever. I mean, but regardless, it's like, I don't know. It's to me, I just like the reality of what they were just is kind of obvious to me because literally all you have to do is just look at any other account that isn't theirs. And also, they literally were like, aggressive, antagonistic to other people in different states. There's literally a reason why they were like kicked out. It wasn't because of their philosophy or their specific ideology. I mean, granted, that made it a lot easier, but it definitely wasn't the core factor. Probably was like Pleasantville, where Salt Lake has traffic and gangs and drugs and lefties. Got a big tree and strong room in my backyard if you want to come over, bud. Oh, that's so cute. That is the most cutest but most pathetic little, like, threat I've ever gotten in my life. Oh, adorable. Am I supposed to be, like, threatened by that or scared? Because I'm not. Definitely got a fucking badass over here. Like, holy shit. Ooh, I'm shivering in my boots. Whatever am I gonna do? He might come after me. He might take my succulent ass and just do horrible things to it. Oh no. Please, not that. No. Oh. Jesus Christ, man. At least try to, like, have some flair with it. Or just be fucking blunt and just say it. Instead of that dumb shit. You're the loser here, bud. You're the one who tried to make a death threat to me on the internet to a rando on the internet, you dumb fuck. You want to rethink and reevaluate all that there, bit, bud? I think Mormons believe that the Americans are the spawn devil or some shit. No. They thought of that about black people for a long time because they were very fucking racist. I don't think it was with indigenous people or anything. Honestly, they literally have in their belief that Jesus, during the 3 days he was, ascended from, to heaven, from his grave, that he went to the Americas. That's what they believe. And, with the Lamanites and the Nephites, I think, that's basically just like the indigenous peoples is what they lumped them up in. Man, this is just too fucking pathetic to watch. Get out of here. Fucking wannabe ass tough guy. It's so adorable to just see a legit dude who thinks he's a tough guy badass when he's actually looking like such a fucking closeted bitch ass. Oh my god. Ugh. You just timed him out. I'm just like, no. That's like a part of the execute order 6-6. Like, no, that's just gone. Like, if they do it once, I'm just going to call it out and say you're dumb. But if they're spamming it, like, there's not even a 24-hour timeout in my mind. It's like, you're just gone. You literally do not have value. Sorry, bro. Not here, at least. Go be 12 somewhere else. I remember being a cute little 12-year-old trying to be edgy and do dumb shit like that, too. But at least I was also more clever with it, because I actually knew how to troll, and back then it was an actual art you had to do in order to do it right. Not this lame shit. Ugh. Not gonna lie, I'm in a little bit of a mood. Not like completely, but there's always been this like back of my like little crawl and grind my gear, being like, even though ultimately I got no reason to. Day was fine. It was, but. What are they pay? Man, why are there honestly like some just legit fucking weirdos on your internet? I was checking out a clip from one of like the songs like fan react channels, and dude, like I didn't even realize there's this whole thing between him and Destiny right now. Well, to be fair, like the ones are not, but because Destiny's a fucking liberal fucking predatory freak, and just like straight up like I mean, apparently, he literally went to like some event that Hassan was at the other day with him and a bunch of his like weird little like lackeys, and tried to harass him, and was literally like even like harassing other people outside the event. One dude got detained by the cops apparently for trying to assault somebody. And then Destiny got banned from the event essentially. Just all sorts of shit. I'm just like, and now like Destiny's basically like borderline like kind of trying to call for his death almost, and it's like, what in the fuck is going on with this shit? Well, I remember I saw him mention it's like I might kind of low key consider charges. This is literally stalking and like potentially threatening my life, dog. I'm like, yeah, you might want to get some security there, bro. Like actual private security, like dead ass. Oh, hardy har. Hey, so sister. Great stream. Harry Cow sends his love. Bro, if you're gonna do a Ligma, do one that's clever. That is just literally grade 1 beginner's Ligma. Jesus, like, gotta be better than that. Former liberal, what the fuck I was thinking ever again. Well, where'd you move from that? Because I used to kind of ish be liberal for like 2 seconds, but then I was like, nah, fam. But I went, so far left you get your guns back kind of, mentality, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where I decided to kind of, venture myself into. So far to the point where, at least especially if you over to live in the United States, I'm literally like in the fucking deep, like, forests in the mountains, of Cascadia or some shit, just hiding. While the Overton window's like miles away in the valley. I'm just out there chilling. It's like, what's up? I'm an outlier out here. What you doing? How you doing? Look exactly like that soccer player. Your reaction. I don't know who that is. PPC is a journey. It's not just the. Oh my fucking god. Well, that's a take. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, where do I even go with that? What the fuck? Do I call it just the obvious, or do I at least even entertain it? Like, what do I do with that? Because, hey, shocker, bro, like, don't know if anyone's told you, but, like, Zionism in the Israeli state likes to literally lump all Jews into one broad thing because it's a beneficial idea and philosophy to them to help, do their broader victim mentality when it comes to Israel every time a Palestinian dares fucking rock at them. So, I don't know. Like, maybe you should kind of reevaluate that a little bit, considering that Zionism is unironically kind of more anti-Semitic than not. So, I don't know. Maybe we could just point that obvious out, but I'm sure you already got your weird little fucking convictions anyway. Believe in Jesus Christ? No, I don't. Yeah, but I ain't going to church. Oh, there you go. Don't even entertain it. Well, I guess I kind of did, but whatever. Jews aren't Semites? Huh? If you're literally from the region of the Levant, you're, part of like the broad, lumping of, being a Semitic, peoples and shit. That also includes Palestinians too, by the way. They're also Semitic people as well. People don't really want to admit that or mention that, but they are. But guess what? There's also like, historical backing of them being there too, Jewish people. But does that mean like, oh, it's like all theirs now? So Zionism and genocide's cool? Obviously not. Fuck no. I mean, you could point out a basic, point of history without, being like, oh, there's something very unique about it though, because there isn't. How can Palestinians be anti-Semitic or Semitic? Exactly. Or like the weird idea that like there's like anti-Semitic Jews that exist, which is like, huh? Like people like Ben Shapiro will say shit like this, and which is unironically anti-Semitic as fuck. Be like, you're not actually a true Jew because you don't believe in the idea of the Israeli state, or at least what I think, what Jews ought to believe. You don't believe in that? Well, you're not a real Jew. So, it's like, what? It's like, you literally can't take away the fact that they're still Jewish, you fuck. Like, excuse me? Fucking, like, Ben Shapiro's a fucking legit unhinged nut when it comes to, that fucking shit. Too far gone. I'm literally not a Zionist, so I don't know who you're talking to. I believe Israel's the biggest threat to the U.S. democracy. They're at least one of the top three for sure. Yeah. Top two, top three for sure. I wouldn't necessarily say they're like ultimately the number one, but yeah, they're up there. I'd more say that they're a bigger threat to just broader world peace. I think it's number one. Our own administration right now. Which honestly, that second part kind of goes in hand with it anyway, considering that they're lapdogs to Israel on top of everything. So, I mean, they're basically kind of one, ultimately a weird way one the same. So I guess it's kind of a null point, whether if Israel really is like the second or third, because it kind of goes into the first. APAC should be registered as a foreign entity. It should just be banned. It should just literally be outlawed. Like, fuck APAC. But they have to learn to coexist with Palestinians. I guess I don't necessarily disagree with that. But ultimately, like, what's going on now fundamentally needs to change, and there actually literally needs to be a military, action to address it. Because the current state of Israel, especially culturally too, with how their society views, this broader conflict, it's like you're not going to be able to just convince them and then just force them to the table. That's done. That's like long gone at this point. Like you have to like at this rate put a barrel of the gun at them and be like, no, you will fucking comply to this at this point. Like, I mean, they have to literally basically have, like, the world against them at this rate to fucking concede, and the fuck thing is, they're gonna fight back first. I live off APAC, then how come I'm not getting paychecks off of them? Where's my APAC money? Is that, like, the new Soros money now? Huh? Are you not hearing what I'm saying? Why would APAC give me anything to live off of? What? That's nothing to do with what the government's doing. Well, what I said had nothing to do with, whether or not Jews have the right to live there or not. Which, sure, they do. But if they're going to have this position of like discrimination, against Palestinians, including violence, then there needs to be very harsh and extreme repercussions, done to that. Like just straight up. Like fuck beating around the bush and fuck the idea of like, well, what, you're victimizing me now? It's like fuck you. So how long have you been victimizing generations of these fucking people? It's like, oh, maybe arguably not even your family because your whole family lived in fucking Brooklyn since like 22, 1922 or some shit. It's like, yeah, it's like, oh, but yeah, I suffered through the Holocaust stuff and my family, went through that. It's like, yeah, and yet, if you look back and you actually hear what they'd say about the family, it's like, yeah, my great grandma moved to Brooklyn, in New York in like 1923 or some shit, bro. You know what I mean? It's like, huh? So they never did. It's like, what the fuck? So now you're just using the Holocaust as a way to just like shield yourself to think that, you could justify your fucking shit beliefs. Like, fuck you, especially for shit like that. That's disgusting. Even more heinous if it's like even their own family and they use that as a justification too, if they, have that. So, the Holocaust was never again, but just for Jewish people, though. It doesn't matter if that's committed, by Jewish people or anybody else to anyone else, but as long as they're not us. No, when they said never again, when it came to something like a fucking Holocaust, that meant period. Across the board, no matter who's doing it. Like, fuck that. Crazy that's actually federal, and now APEC money has been used in the worst ways. And, I mean, look at, El Sayed, like he's literally like having the whole front of APAC putting millions and millions of dollars into a campaign against him, and yet he's still holding on, like, and he's still on top and shit, basically for the most part. And broadly, I'm like, man, I hope he fucking wins because he's kind of leaning to be on track to, but it's like, ooh. I mean, I hope that this, whole shit with Zionism and AIPAC, finally fucking, cracks because it has been already. I mean, look at Mamdani and even like Troy Jackson, like he won the primary, like, and even though I thought the DNC and AIPAC were literally going to do everything to try to anoint their specific guy, but no, Troy Jackson already had slightly enough momentum already, despite the lack of name recognition and such short notice, but at least for Mainers, they probably already were very well aware from him because he already had a record in Maine, being a politician. He's done shit as in office in Maine already in the state, so Mainers are aware of him. So I'm very glad that he won now at this point because that does kind of guarantee that an anti-Zionist progressive that's kind of like Plattner but without the baggage. I mean, that is actually kind of nice to know. I mean, he's not exactly the same. Like, there's a few differences, but he's also anti-Zionist, too. So, and at least actually, from what I could tell, certainly anti-war and actually has a strong position on that. So, unlike Plattner being like, useless wars and shit like that, like some fucking Tulsi Gabbard lingo. Interesting how the U.S. government is doing literally everything that's wildly unpopular with citizens. It's as if they're trying to piss us off so they can have a cosy belly to basically just kill democracy and make it like a pseudo-democratic autocracy and oligarchy. You notice how like that's pretty much just how like Russia is too, right? Like like Trump is literally trying to like do like the mafioso government crime syndicate fucking shit like how Russia's ran off of. Like that's literally what he's trying to do. Because even if Putin isn't necessarily like directly, raised in the mob or whatever in the organized crime, he absolutely does fucking work with them. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely very heavily intertwined into the Russian government when it comes to the Russian mafias. And same thing here with the United States with things now. The difference is that Trump has been a part of the mafia shit, since like he was a kid practically. Since he was a young adult. Or at least, when he was, doing his stupid fucking business ventures and all that or shit. Of course he only gives a fuck about his wallet. He's literally doing anything and everything possible to pretty much maximize his coffers, including those of his, associates and shit. And that's it. He's like, because weirdly enough, this dementia is like so good for everybody because he's literally just openly is just saying shit out loud without realizing he's incriminating himself. Okay, it's a good song, but this ballad is a little like not like the vibe that we're talking here, bro. Like, Jesus Christ. There we go. This is better. Scary part is he won't be impeached, and he's tripled his wealth since his election, and he wants to get rid of birthright, but his wife overstayed her visa. And also, there's plenty of people in his administration right now that are the same thing too, with their wives and even themselves sometimes, depending on who we talk to. And it's also just another factor too of like, especially people like Patel, for example. It's like, does this motherfucker think that like, let's say that, their broader ultimate goals are legitimately achieved, like to, 100%. People like us are in the camps, whatever the fuck. I don't know. We're black sided away somewhere by the CIA. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? Like, they get their dream world. Do you think people like that motherfucker, like Ash Patel, even people like Ramaswamy back when he was trying to run, which that was also kind of a writing on the wall too, proving it, where there was people asking about him, and there's like, I don't trust him. He's an Indian. He's got that Indian name. I don't like it. Like, they literally will be like blunt like that. I'll be like, wow. It's like, even though he literally is pretty much on par with like that MAGA Trump-esque policies and everything else in between, it's just like, nope. He's just got that name though. Fuck him. He ain't a Christian either. He ain't a good, honest Christian. Which is ironic because wasn't he at least like somewhat culturally Christian? I don't know if he was like outright Hindu either. I think he was technically Hindu, but I think he also believed in the Christian pantheon as well, broadly. Like, I think he had like a weird both thing going on. I don't fucking know. Who gives a shit? He's a piece of shit. But like, I mean, either way, man. Like I was saying though, it's like the writing on the wall. It's like, people like Patel and even like these, Hispanics and Chicanos and these, like Latino shit that are in ICE. Do you think they're gonna fucking like what get off easy or like, oh, we're totally fine? Not because they're gonna be charged for the shit they've done, but because like, let's say in this hypothetical, like I was saying from earlier, they're going to suddenly be like, oh yeah, you're exempt. Oh no, you're on that boat too, bitch. You're getting deported, eventually. They're just going to find some good old excuse. Doesn't matter how good of a loyal dog you were. Fucking dumbass fascist. Because at the end of the day, they see all of us, including them too, as expendable. Period. If it maximizes our profit, if it maximizes our goals, and when it comes to the inner circle of the powers that be, at least in this concurrency with Trump and his circle, yeah, he don't give a fuck who throws on the bus. He don't give a shit. In fact, he'd prefer a bigger yes man, than the one before. And he'll find one. In fact, one of his fucking lawyers might be like the new attorney general potentially. And he's still going to go through it despite all the fucking questions. And even the obvious, like, nah, you literally should not be allowed to fucking, be in his position. Like, he literally said, so I am Trump's lawyer, was Trump's lawyer. Like, he literally had to correct himself at one point. I was like, you're actively still his fucking lawyer, and now you're putting into this position, so now you're doing two jobs. You're his fucking lawyer and attorney. Like, that's insane. That's fucking insane. Trump's father was a Freemason. He was also in the Klan. He was a KKK member. I really don't give a fuck if he was a Freemason or not, honestly. There's not really that much of a big cabal around the Freemasons. His mom was a Scottish immigrant. Well, that I know. I mean, a lot of his family were. And also Nazi sympathizers, too. Fred Trump literally was like overtly a Nazi sympathizer. So was Henry Ford, and so were a lot of capitalist industrialists. I wonder why. Just kind of a curious little thing to think about. Considering that a lot of the private economy in Nazi Germany was pretty much maximized, and the Nazis let corporations basically just go free reign as long as they abided and go loyal to the state. That's all they had to do. Just abide by Nazi ideology and implant that everywhere in your factories and this and that and all that shit. And like put your factories near camps and shit like that, and we'll support you 100%. That's pretty much what they did. Not financially, or we're literally owning a part of that share of the company or anything. It wasn't socialist shit at all. It was literally just like variations of different private sharing, and also private equity extraction, and where the government would seize small businesses, including especially Jewish businesses, and would gamble or auction them to these other bigger corporations to essentially liquidate or run themselves, that were obviously loyal to the Nazi state. But Hitler was a socialist, bruh. Just glad the world's starting to wake up to all this bullshit this government is doing, as well as Israel. I know. I mean, I just hope we get to the point where we can actually, like, get to the degree that I want to see it as. You know what I mean? Everyone basically suspects / knows Trump's a pedo in there, so has been public sit-in. Yeah, we need like an outright general strike besides like a 1 day, release the pressure valve of fucking, no kings every so often. It's like, I hate to say it, but fuck that shit. Where's the no kings general strike that lasts so long until the tear gas comes out, or the National Guard, comes out, and even then it just comes out louder the next day. So what are they gonna do? Shoot us? I'd like to see what happens when that fucking starts. Because people will radically, respond to that pretty quickly. If, Americans weren't so used to pain and suffering, because apparently, I guess we're just gluttons and punishment. But a fair criticism, get rid of all these corrupt politicians. More like just rewrite it in a way. Like, keep a lot of the amendments we got, but maybe we could take a couple out, replace them with ones that are better, shit like that. Like, it would just need a fucking outright rework, bro. It's just fucked. Same with the Bill of Rights. Same with just everything about how our system runs. Fuck the Senate. Fuck the Electoral College. Fuck this 3-branch judicial bullshit. Whatever the fuck. Fuck all that. I mean, nah. He won't be president again, trust me. He barely is going to probably survive the rest of this fucking term. Mark my words, I guarantee you somehow by the end of this year, he's probably going to croak. I've been saying this all year, and I'm still committing to it. Because I'm not joking. Go listen to it. Go listen to anything he's done within the last couple days. Dude, it's literally worse than ever. And every time it's worse and worse. And these motherfuckers that sometimes come in here want to try to be like, oh, my daddy, though. It's like, yeah, your daddy's dying. He's literally actively dying before your eyes, and you don't give a fuck because you're like, see, how, Bubba? Oh, I want his mushroom dick. It's like, fucking psycho piece of shit. God, this is why I have no sympathy or respect or a care to feel rehabilitative about anyone supporting him anymore at this point. Permanently go fuck yourself forever until you literally croak in the dirt when you're 80 years old if you survive that long. Like, go fuck yourself forever at this point. Like, legit. And even, I'm not even joking, there has been some people in here, that were like, oh, yeah, I'm right wing. But but they're actually being kind of chill, and we'll talk. And they're like, yeah, I don't really like Trump anymore. There's a groiper, a fucking Nick Fuentes guy that came in here. It's like, yeah, I'm not sure if I really believe in that shit anymore, dog. I like really planted seeds, being like, yeah, because not only is he a grifter and shit, and yeah, you obviously hate Trump, and you weirdly are pro-immigrant, weirdly enough, strangely. I was like, are you sure you just don't realize you're actually probably a lefty, but just, you just never really delved into certain things because you just went down that pipeline? I mean, because, when he literally was in my chest saying, I don't know if I, really can support that anymore, I was like, well, go on that journey. You know what I mean? It's like, go forth. Like, I'm glad I planted the seed. Like, I was reassuring it because it's like, that's cool. I like that. Because when that opportunity arises, I'm not going to, like, miss that opportunity or at least try. But, like, at this point still, it's like, man, she's still got a long way to go, though. I will admit that, but at least I can, recognize the neurons are clicking. It's like, yay, that's good. It's like looking at a kindergartner a little bit. I hate to be like that, like condescending, but it kind of is. It's like, good little Jimmy. Now we can grow up a little more. It's like, well, just not a bad thing, but it's like, man, it took this fucking long. Mm. I mean, my empathy sometimes because I sort of there's a part of me that will still be like, nah, you were still supporting it all this time up until supporting it. But nah, I can't. Not if they're like genuinely like, yeah, this is getting too fucked. I didn't realize like how bad it really was. Like, oh my god, kind of shit. It's like it's almost like an existential thing. I mean, I can't really relate because I haven't really been in that position, but I mean, shit. I mean, I've met enough people to know that there's been people politically and ideologically and philosophically that have been in that position. I'm like, well, let me help. Let me plant a seed or two. Because, I mean, I've grown up with a lot of conservatives or even centrists and liberals and all sorts. So, especially with how radical one can be, sometimes you gotta bite your tongue and all that shit. You know what I mean? It's tricky when it comes to navigating, especially in the real world. It's a little easier here because a PFP and someone's at for their channel. It's a little easier to like not really give a fuck. But I mean, it's not like I don't though, because I still do. I just separate the trolls from the adults. You know what I mean? Or at least, the trolls that can at least be adults and be chill and respectable. Because there's been plenty of those before. I'm not afraid to speak on politics. To me, people are scared. Well, at least in my experience, a lot of people that I know aren't really afraid of it that much. Funny enough, yesterday at least, me and my boss at work were talking some of that, some politics. We're talking about like how turfs are weird, racism sucks, balls, RFK is fucking retardedly insane, and basically, killing, any like health regulations and shit with the parasite and stuff that's going around. Like, he said, even my boss is actually pretty base as fuck. Like, you know, and I don't even necessarily bring it up all the time, but like there will be a few times I'll bring up a thing or I'll laugh at like something I'm listening to while I'm like doing my shit. My boss will be like, "What you watching?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm watching this podcast. They're just reacting to Trump's speech from the other day, and blah blah blah." Like, and I didn't realize like how fucked it is with how bad this guy is and what he's saying too. It's extra. But at least their commentary is helping me through because they're at least being funny with it. It's helping me while I'm sitting here because he kind of heard me chuckling every so often. And he was like, "What are you listening to?" Because I was just kind of having it right there while I'm on like the fry area, frying up my fries and some corn stuff like that. And he just happened to pop by because he just kind of heard me giggle every so often. But I'm so glad because I mean, I have not had a boss that's actually like unironically, legitimately chills fuck like that. I mean, like, cause he's like fuck Trump, fuck. He even has family members, where he was even telling a story that I kind of like eavesdropped in a little bit, for most of it, where he had like an aunt or some shit that's like very pro Trump and shit, and basically told her off, and all this other shit, being like, "Nah, fuck you, you're the one with the problem." This is why most of the families like disowned you and this and that. I'm like, damn, based. Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, it's a nice little like reprieve. My boss is actually kind of maybe not a full on leftist, but he's kind of a leftist. I'm just like yes. And he's also going to celebrate Pride of his husband too. Yeah, that's going to happen in Portland here pretty soon, which is cool as fuck. That probably explains a little bit of the extra reasoning of why he's like, base as fuck. Though, just saying. So much hate division all created by weak politicians and corrupt news outlets, and the whole tactic of divide and conquer. Because you know what's even more exceptionally sad is a lot of these MAGA rightoid, fucks that I still don't have much forgiveness anymore at this point. Like what's exceptionally sad is that they're the ones who suffered the most when it comes to these policies and the actions and the ideology that they espouse and support and vote for. And it's like they just don't get it. And and I hate to say, it's like, but the modern American concept of democracy is fucked and is broken. And yeah, I hate to say it, but maybe there legitimately needs to be like an actual disenfranchisement of some motherfuckers when it comes to this. Yeah, I hate to say it, but these rural motherfuckers, and shit that are like weird MAGA, like QAnon fucks, like, yeah, you just don't get to vote. You're fucking insane. Like, you're literally are mentally incapable of distinguishing reality from insanity. Like, nah, dog. Like, you just don't get to. Like, you don't get to participate in that civic duty. Which also is another reason why I hate that fucking bullshit, by the way, of like, it's civic duty to vote. Yeah, like these fucking rural yuck fucks or cousin fuckers that, support MAGA, and overt Confederate Nazi shit. Like, who, frankly, are voting and more enthusiastic about it than anyone else. Regardless, they always go part of the line no matter what. Way more so than centrist liberals, or leftists. So even if you force everybody to vote, the results will still probably, honestly, at the end, they speak for themselves. And conservatives would still, because of the electoral college, would probably win more often, not depending on the circumstances. It wouldn't. I mean, I don't think it would matter that much. And also, what about the right to not to vote? What if I want to abstain from this particular electoral cycle? Where's my right in that? Where's my civic duty to say I want to protest this in a protest vote, or maybe just to abstain from doing that outside of down ballot shit? Like, I don't know. Like, there's some shit like that where I'm like, nah, fuck that a little bit. And honestly, luckily, I feel like I haven't been hearing much of a pro argument on that, just on this virtue. Frankly, I think. It's not devoid of issues, but we have to discuss it. Let's get sure. Something's gonna happen. Oh, yeah, vote. Won the last survey election. Well, that's why I at least, will still vote. But when it comes to the national side of things, I'm in Oregon. I'm in a deep blue state. It's always going to go electorally with the electoral college to the Democrat. On the national level, my vote generally doesn't matter. State level and down ballot, yes, it does. And I especially, make sure to participate in that. But when it comes to that, national vote with the presidency, yeah, like, I'm not going to give a fuck. It's a deep blue state. That's not changing anytime soon. I never vote for president every chance I've had. Maybe I'll vote for someone I like becomes a nominee. Yeah, I usually do protest vote. The only time I've ever actually voted for a Democrat outside the primary was 2020. But that was really just because I was like, God damn it. I was like literally in my mind, like that day of the election, sitting there staring at it, being like, I have like an hour left before I have to turn this in because luckily the ballot box to where I could drop my ballot because it was a mail-in ballot, where I could drop it off was literally just like a 15-minute walk, if that. Like, really, if that. It was probably more like maybe 12-ish minutes, or maybe 2, or 12, or like 10, something like that. Depending on what route I take, or if I like rode my bike or something. If I rode my bike, that should be way quicker. But anyway, the point being though, it's like I was just sitting there being like, literally pondering in my head, being like, it don't really matter, but man, second term Trump, arguably, especially in hindsight, now I'm thinking about it, would literally probably be better. In fact, I've even talked to some of my lefty friends, and they've kind of agreed, like, yeah, because this shit would not be a thing right now. Just straight up. I mean, we wouldn't have to deal with old Joe. We wouldn't have to deal with fucking, Kamala. I mean, maybe she would still try to run, but likely probably still wouldn't win. I don't, like, there's a different outcome that would have, unironically, probably been preferable. So voting feels pointless. Well, when you're in, like, one of these, like, blue or red locked states on a national level, especially for a vote for the presidency, it really, it is kind of pointless. Because the majority of the people are just going to vote that one way or the other. Whether it's a blue state or a red state, that state's going to vote pretty much predominantly that way. There's been curveballs every so often, but I mean, those are usually also, more likely to be swing states, and, more often than not, which arguably would be a little bit more important for those type of states, especially if they're a very contested swing state. But I mean, I don't live in that state, so I personally don't advocate that. But if you live in that state, I would argue that that's probably preferable to maybe vote, maybe for the blue, just on the virtue that it would help at least, electorally not make it red. You know what I mean? Like, but even then, that's just like literally like some like political calculus shit. So, and I'm not that guy. I'm more about like practice and direct action and other shit that can help swing and push and pressure the whole electoral process. That, yes, is also important, but I mean, it's not really going to mean much if we just sit on our ass and not give a fuck. Which luckily that's changing, but still, it's like, people are not giving enough of a fuck yet. Won't be going to US ever. Being mixed like a past Spanish native, Middle Eastern. I'm not getting iced down there. Fuck that. Well, we'll say if you were to go to like Washington or like Oregon, especially like in Portland, I will say this much: you'll probably be fine. Just visit the West Coast, like with Oregon and Washington, bro. Like go to Seattle, go to Portland or something. Like you'll be good. You could literally just mix in with the rest of the people around here, and you'll unironically probably be fine. You'll blend in pretty well. Actually, I'm assuming the PFP is you, right? Here, let me do this so I can look at. Oh yeah, dude. You would easily blend in, around with people around here. And I will say this much: like ICE is not as active in Portland anymore as they used to. They're putting their focus on like Michigan and some parts of the East Coast and shit. So, I mean, you're likely to probably be okay out here. Arguably, just depending, at least Portland, like, you don't really got to worry about cops. They don't really give a fuck about anything. Because the Portland Police Bureau really does not enforce a lot of shit, like, at all. Especially the shit that kind of matters. But, whatever. Silver line, I suppose. And then Seattle, I can't really say much besides that their nightlife and their, like, it just sucks. There's nothing there after, like, midnight at the latest. After that, you're good luck finding even a convenience store that's open. Like, it's kind of shitty. You'd have to go, like, outside of Seattle, not, downtown, but, like, out in the metro, to find something. And And even then, sometimes that metro, depending on the day and shit, it might not always be frequent service. So you might be just sitting there on your ass, and by the time you get out in that area, that shit might be closed. And it's like, fuck. So it's like literally like a shit out of luck kind of situation in Seattle sometimes, which I don't understand though. Like, they should have like an insane nightlife. Why has Portland got that shit for the most part? Because there's a lot of bars and a lot of places around here that will stay up until 2:30 on the dot when the alcohol cutoff is across the state. Gonna get honorary native. I mean, if you actually have like indigenous blood, I'm assuming you would already be. What's wild is despite the difference, Portland is probably more similar to Salt Lake. They look and feel way similar. No, dude, my friend Logan would immediately be disagreeing with you, and I have to kind of agree. Nah, dude, there's a lot of different shit about Salt Lake that is not Portland, dog. I mean, I hate to, I mean, nah. I've seen like Google Maps of Salt Lake. Yeah, it's just not. I mean, I'm assuming you've been there, but Portland is not. Like Salt Lake is not like SLC is not like a city that is crunched in a valley, and also at the fork of the Willamette River and the Columbia too, like where there's like literally a T intersection of rivers going on. Like it's not one of. I mean, Salt Lake ain't that, and also the Willamette is also a very wide ass river too. And it's got this weird ass little bends, as well, at one point when it comes to like some of the shipyards, especially around like northeast Portland and even some parts of northwest Portland. Portland's super similar feel to me, IMO. Well, I guess you would have to hash that out with Logan, especially because I've never been to Salt Lake City, but from what I've seen and from Google Maps, even from my general observations, they're not. Maybe culturally, I suppose, because like SLC is a pretty like liberal like blue bubble, of a city. I mean, like apparently also Salt Lake City has like one of the biggest pride events, or at least one of them, in America, which is kind of surprising but pretty cool. So I mean, I'm sure there's like some commonalities, like any big city does, but I mean, I can't really make a definitive statement outside of just my bias living in Portland all my entire life. So, but also just air quality, way better, and also just the virtue that we don't have a salt lake. There's that. I mean, there's a lot of things, honestly, where it's just like, uh, Las Vegas also feels similar, not cultural, of course, but in an urban architectural sense. I've been to Vegas twice as layovers, but they were like all night layovers. So I said, fuck it, checked out the strip for a sec, which is pretty cool. But I had to literally be right next to the airport, which luckily the strip is near it. So I was able to kind of like hang out at like one of, I think it was the MGM, I think. If I remember correctly, both times. Because I was like, all right, so like right next to the airport, I could pretty much like walk it and be fine, basically. You know what I mean? Like it's all Gucci. And then I, just checked out the roulette tables for the most part and just played that. The Great Salt Lake is vanishing. We will be renamed to Arsenic Flats City soon. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's another factor too. Is like arsenic is like a, yeah, like I don't know, man. Similar. I don't know, bro. Joking, I have a Orvok Indian blood, but that's Caribbean, so no. I really want to go to San Mass for vacation. Uh, I mean, hey, that's still indigenous blood. Maybe it's in the Caribbean, but I mean, honestly, I've never even heard of that specific, group or tribe or anything before. So I'm just like, that's cool as fuck. That ain't honorary. I mean, that is true. Just not one people are familiar with. I guess unless they're from the Caribbean, I'm guessing, but I'm not. So, but still cool. We get arsenic dust storms now. Oh my god, brother! Ugh, what the fuck? I'm gonna get lung cancer, dude. Get out of there. Get out of that city. Get out of Utah, bro. Like dead. fuck, ass type shit. You know, it's all the lingo. Like, bro, no cap. Get out of there. Don't get cancer. No. What's the worst place to live in America, you reckon? Oh my fucking god. Arguably anywhere in the South predominantly, but Arkansas, Florida, Texas, unless you're living in the city, and even then, Texas, Florida. I can't necessarily say Texas, you know, because I've been there a few times. I got family out there, so I've seen, you know, some genuine beauty and some cool stuff about Texas. So I can't quite say that, but I mean, I can't also use the bias of like, it's got some natural beauty, bro. Like, you know, natural beauty, you know what I mean? You know, it's like, nah, I can't be like that. I can't use that as bias. But yeah, Florida, Arkansas, and like Alabama. Probably those three. Missouri, maybe. Michigan. Why most punks liberal? They're not. Punks are leftist as fuck. What are you talking about? I know the man. They worship the government. They want more government. What? Huh? Huh? Okay. Punks are anarchists. Yeah. I know. What the hell is he? Dude, like, that's just not. Punks distaste. Dude, have you ever heard Love Me, I'm a Liberal? It was a protest song by Phil Oakes, but it's also been repurposed by folk punks and punk artists alike. Like, Jello Biafra from the Dead Kennedys literally did a collab album with Mojo Nixon, a cowpunk or a outlaw country punk artist, basically. Like, that fucking wrote that song, Love Me, I'm a Liberal, in a more modern context. Back in the 90s, at least. So it's like, huh? They're mostly liberals. Have you been in the punk scene? Because I'm active in it, you dip. And trust me, no the fuck they're not. Say hi to Brazil. Olá, Brasil. We're nihilists, Lebowski. Nihilists. Pray for your nephew is both black and gay. I'm not Christian, so I'm not praying for shit. But let him be a badass, cool motherfucker. Two Americans, right of center, libs and leftists are the same thing. Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, but doesn't mean I can't at least correct it and be like, as a leftist, fuck liberals. You have to be conservative, you punk. Then how come there's songs like this? Punch a Nazi. Pretty leftist as fuck, isn't it? This song overtly is contradicting you right now. Nazi punks fuck off. Overtly, inherently leftist. Dead Kennedy said it best. Yeah, you literally gotta be trolling, bro. Natural Socialist leftist. It literally wasn't, you dipshit. Just like being a liberal Zionist means you're obviously like, progressive, even though you support overt fascism, but and a genocide. But nah, fuck off with that bullshit. It's so dumb. No information in chat. It's not even just like misinformation. It's just literally the same old trope bullshit I've heard since I was like, growing up being fucking anti-Nazi because, oh wow, it's actually leftist, bro. Yeah, said the fucking Nazi fascist who wants to try to like avoid, and obfuscate getting punks and skinheads mixed up. Well, the irony is that there are punk skins, like good ones, leftist ones. There's an organization called Skinheads Against Racial Prejudice, or SHARP, and they're predominantly, skins or skinheads, or usually punk, types, for the most part, that overtly support that shit, and they're out there basically, being like a pro, anti-Nazi organization, essentially saying an anti-fascist organization saying like, hey, we're taking the idea of being a skin back, because that inherently initially in its foundation was a punk thing. Like, especially in the East Coast, like, the idea of being a skin punk was kind of a common thing. Even in places like in the UK and shit was a very normalized common thing. So it's like, I mean, it's one of those things where it got co-opted by overt skinhead Nazis and shit, especially when it came to having tattoos on their, skull or whatever, especially having SS tats or swastikas or whatever. But, but that's why, when the punk scene was thriving and, being born at the time, especially in the 70s, and the Dead Kennedys up and down the West Coast, and Portland very often, would be playing, they would notice these motherfuckers around. And they're like, there was always a lot of fights. There was a lot of people being like, yo, what the fuck, you Nazi? Get out of here. Fuck you. Get your conservative Nazi shit out of here. And, there was legit, shit that happened like that all the time. And, Jello made a very quick, aggressive, practically very violent song saying, Nazi punks fuck off. It's a very aggressive song and for good merit. There's a reason for it. It's born in the 70s. Hell yeah. Hello from Spain. How you doing today? Lady? Cabron. Pendejo. This guy Willie's not up to this. Don't worry, he's not even here anymore. He got yeeted. Congrats, Spain. Dude, I love how Argentina literally just started like getting sore loser stats and started like trying to fight people. I was like, wow. Man, they were mad. I saw a lot of that on Public Freakout, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, all right, fuck yeah. I didn't really care too much, but I was like, I would support either way, but I'm kind of glad Spain won. And I also hate that, of course, I need to have the fucking limelight too, folks. I need a limelight. I hate how Trump literally was there just like, I'm just fucking here. Just standing around, just aimlessly, while they're having this whole thing with the fucking lifting of their World Cup and shit, and he's just there, just in the corner, just like, I need to at least be a part of this. It was just like, dude, fuck everything, man. Like, just fuck it all. Such a goof. I mean, I couldn't help but laugh, but at this point, the laughter is just starting to become pain. I'm waiting for him to croak already, so then at least whatever we got now, I can still somewhat have a resemblance of like, he at least didn't destroy everything. The longer he lives, the more he destroys. So it's like, oh god, can it just happen already, please? Can the cholesterol, can the congestive heart failure, can whatever the fuck just can it go for? Can the dementia just hit him that hard? Can he just like fall and slip or something like Joe Biden and then just like hit his head and you know like come on, please. Let his own fucking failing health just take him already. Where are you from? Oregon. Devil looks out for his own. Hey, don't be insulting the devil. Avis Satanas. Satan wouldn't be supporting this shit. World goes to surround sound when he's in office. Dude, and it's not just that, but also it's like, I mean, even like the status quo of the establishment was not like this. Even with the conservatives. Now it's just like all gas, no brakes, who give a fuck because we got this Mad King Cicero in office. It's like, who's got dementia too? And a child fucker. I'm from Iran. Well, I hope you're staying safe and much love, man. Dude, like, I hate what Israel and our government is doing to your shit, and hey, I support y'all, you know, people's safety and shit. And I will say this much: I'm glad that at least your government is also having the most level head out of everything, you know, when it comes to the situation. Because if it wasn't for that, this would be so bad. So ultimately, I'm glad that you know the government's actually you know being rational about it all, but obviously not taking shit either. Left my heart in Iran. Well, I can't leave all of it there, unfortunately. I have to chip a few chunks of my heart to different places. You know what I mean? Subscribe to you. Well, hey, at least letting you know, there's at least you know some Americans like me out here that are you know very much against this shit. In fact, a lot of us are. We fucking detest what the fuck we're doing. I hate to say that it's not all of us, but there's a lot of us out here that you know don't want this shit. So you gotta fight back. People feeling power and allowed to say how they feel is really small to it, but it kind of goes so we can see the assholes really are. Yeah, and honestly, I have more respect for someone that at least you know just says you know their convictions and shit. You know what I mean? And as weird as it sounds, even to someone who's like a racist or a Nazi and shit, like I'd rather them just be honest for who the fuck they are and just tell me who they are, because at least now I know what you know, I know how to actually gauge them instead of them being a little slithering snake, and I don't understand where their convictions are. Or they're trying to like woo me or dog whistle me, and or you know maybe even try to see if they can you know be like, oh, so you think the Jews are stuff, you know, whatever. It's like, whoa. It's like, oh, I see what's going on now. Why don't you just say what you have to really want to say with your fucking chest then, bitch? How do you really feel? How do you feel about the Jewish question, huh, motherfucker? Because that's happened. That happened not that long ago, actually. A couple of Tuesdays back. I think like 2 weeks ago. And this dude straight up, while me and my friend Lo were talking, you know, we're like, you know, about some other shit, but it eventually kind of, you know, barreled down and avalanche into like World War II, and then, you know, oh well, and he literally went like, yeah, I mean, do we really believe that the Jews really were all like master? I mean, come on, like especially if you look at like how they had like the wooden doors and some weird shit excuse. I was like, I looked at him and immediately texted my buddy who had his phone right there, you know, while he was just like looking at me a little bit like, huh. And I'm like, bro, he's literally saying Nazi shit, dog. I immediately like texted him. He kind of looked at me like, look, you know, and we were like, okay, we gotta like move on quick. And I'm not saying much at this point because I'm like, I ain't trying to pop the fuck off, especially because, like, ooh, that's a place I want to actually be chill with and like. So I ain't trying to be 86. Let those 1488 motherfuckers get 86 all day as far as I give a shit. So, because fuck them. We have our Maple Magas up here, which is so fucking pathetic, too. That's just so sad and pathetic. Dude, like, what's sad is that there are, like, MAGA all over the world. There's, like, British MAGA types. There's fucking, they're all, I mean, there was even, like, uh, like the Brazilian ones of, like, Bolsonaro. And now with Argentina, with Milei, with Javier Milei, it's like, you want to also, by the way, fuck Argentina anyway, especially with FIFA, just on the virtue that, they have him as a leader. I hate how they, like, fucking, went up to that final, but I don't care. They lost, so be Solars this bitch. Cry hard on Lamau. I'm not crying, but okay. Like I said, tell me how you really feel, Ingus. Tell me how you really feel. Evidently, you got something to say. You might want to swim, motherfucker. And when the Lord looked to Noah and his ark, he said, as the world flood, swim, motherfucker. Swim, motherfucker, swim. I heard about the haunted fires that were supposedly in Argentina. I mean, I haven't really heard much of it, but I mean, also, from what I understand, it hasn't really spread as, like, you know, disastrously as it could have. I mean, from what I understand, it's not really as, like, a severe. So that's why I guess it hasn't been really reported on. But also, there's just so much other shit news-wise, internationally, that's being discussed where it's just gonna be flooded, and buried, in that basically. Like there's so much other things news-wise that the news sees as more of a prevalent and profitable, if it bleeds, it leads, kind of thing to talk about. More so than something like that, where it's for most people, especially if it's not really that impactful, at least from what we can tell, no one's really gonna care. And arguably part of that is probably because we got very desensitized because of COVID too, by the way. I think we're just like, no, we're not doing that again. It was too soon. It's too soon to do this again. We're not doing it. So, I think that could be a part of it. Which, to be fair, I don't blame anybody for that. Nice snack rocket pops. Oof. The last striking Americans that were exposed. Yeah, but so they ain't gonna quarantine themselves. I mean, if COVID had anything to say about how we look at pandemics and shit like this, it's it's we're not exactly very proactive on this at all. We're very shitty about it. We unironically need like a strong arm daddy to like guide us and actually like address that issue. You know what I mean? Because like, bruh. We did puff too long during COVID. Oh my god, I know. Back on my Twitch days when I was streaming at that time, I literally would go in full fucking like I want the dart squads. I literally want like SEAL Team 6 dart squad like dudes and ghillies like dart squad motherfuckers. Like, all right, what you don't want the vax? Well, It'll be like a bee sting to them, but they'll be like, "What the fuck was that? Ah, God damn it! Is there a bee?" And they just get that dart. Well, you know what I'm saying? They get that dart vax. Like I was literally on that position for a while back in the day. Arguably, I would still hold that position, you know, moving forward, depending on circumstances. Not even lying. It's still in there in my heart. Lol. Bro, coconut. Hey, it's not my fault I care about public health. And if these motherfuckers want to be so obstinate to where they're actually legitimately like a biohealth hazard to the rest of the public, then yeah, sometimes extraordinary measures need to be taken. Doesn't mean they have to like be imprisoned or this and that or whatever, but you know, hey, Dart Squad makes sure that they get inoculated and vaxxed, right? You know, they'll be fine. Like I said, it'll be like a bee sting. They won't know. They might realize it later. Be like, you know, some coworker be like, "What's that sticking out of your leg?" You're like, "What the fuck is this?" Yeah, they might be more crazy conspiratorial because they're like, "Oh shit, CIA's darting me." But you know what? Who cares? Let them have that. If that's the consequence to it all, then I don't give a fuck. I really don't. Because they're already like that anyway. So it's like, what? Like, they're just getting forced into it because, like, they're just that retarded? Like, okay. I mean, I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? Like, okay, they just get extra stupid. Big whoop. Like they weren't already. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Eventually they'll figure it out. Might take a while though, but give it time. If not, we'll make them. Or just ensure that they at least, you know, don't have an ability to just like fucking be stupid that harms other people. Which that just goes across the board anyway. Like, I mean, if you're so dumb that you're literally like putting other people at risk, then yeah, you like there's prohibitions that you might need. Trank guns. Nah. Vax. We don't need to tranquilize them. Just let them, you know, just make sure that when, you know, they just get their vaccine. But I'm just saying, like, if it came to, like, pandemic status again. Like, I mean, I don't advocate this now. But back when COVID was going on, especially when those vaccines were going on, there was, like, so many fucking people that just going hardcore like that. I was like, yeah, nah. I was like, nah, this is like, because I, even in my own personal life, I have people in my life that would be directly affected, you know, from the virtue of people not being vaxxed, you know, like, legitimately, because they couldn't. They were autoimmune, you know, or they were allergic, you know, to a specific ingredient, which that happens sometimes with people. Like, there are legitimate medical exceptions, you know, so why sometimes people don't. And that's fine. Medical exceptions are okay to me. Totally understandable. But it's like that's why everybody else needs to because it helps protect them. So they're less likely to shock or get sick where they would be the most fucked out of anybody usually. More often than not. So that's why. It should be kind of like a duh kind of thing, but most people don't. Are you in more like Illinois or the city of Chicago? I'm in Chicago, Oregon. I'm not in Illinois. I'm in Chicago, Oregon. Didn't you hear? Chicago and Portland renamed their cities. So now it's Portland, Illinois, and now it's Chicago, Oregon. Oh, my bad. No, you're good. You're good. I'm fucking with you, by the way. Like, I'm from Portland, but I was in Chicago, so that's why I got the hat. But also, it is actually a meme in the chat. Like, this is a meme on stream where I'm from Chicago, Oregon. So, I mean, it is actually legit a little bit of a meme. So, Because I do wear this hat a lot. I do like the hat. Can you read my name 10 times fast? No, I can't. No, I'm not. I see it. And no, I'm not. Rip said he just timed him out. I was thinking about it, but I was like, nah, I'm not gonna. But then Rip was like, nah, I read that mind. Fuck that. Damn, Rip. I'm in Illinois, so just wondering. You're cute. Oh, well, thank you. But, hey, yeah, I've been there once before. I've been in Chicago. It's a really fucking awesome city. It's one of my favorite cities outside of Portland, personally. I love it. I'd love to visit Chicago again one of these days. But yeah, I'm gonna take a little pick quick. But if anyone wants to send a little love, do a little like, subscribe, and share this around so we can add more watch hours. Because I'm about like 250 watch hours left until I get monetized. Just epic shit. But yeah, and also I have my Cash App on my About page on my channel. So if you want to send a little tip and a little love, you know, that's another way to do it. But anyway, Cash App return. Chunk. Chunk. 7:33 a.m. I sub. This is fun. Great chat. We'll do again. Hey, yeah, I hope you see you around again, my friend. Oh, Vito jealous. Yep. Oh, Vito, I gotta move things around. I don't need you putting your furry little ass on everything. Up. Oh my Lord, have mercy. Raw. Big boy. Big old boy. Oh my Lord, you are such a fucking moody mobile boy. You get all jelly, and I want to be with you and do the same, and you're just like, oh hell no. Come on. Are you camera shy? I said, what's up? Are you just camera shy? Big old boy. Camera shy punk. Is that what's up? Big old floof. the hell? Excuse me. He does not even know what to do right now. He's just like, those Jazzy knows to do. She just wants to go lump chunk. Just hang out right here. Just be a little beat up if you don't want to play. Bring it, boy. Come on, boy. Bring your bone. He's got his bone. Vito, bring a bone. Beat boy. Beat it, Petita. Bring your bone. Vito. Bring your bone, boy. Yeah. Oh, look at you. You just plop. You just like, I got my bone. I'm happy. Oh, we're just so happy with bone. Chunk, chunk. She kind of nestled up, being like, I kind of want some. I kind of want that too. Maybe she will. Eventually, Vito might give up on it, but he's just happy. He's happy he had bone. Oh. Good boy, chowing on bone. Oh. I love how he holds on to it with his paws. It's so cute. Hold up. What's the charge on this bitch? Oh, 61? Oh, easy peasy. Look at this. Oh, so cute. Oh, he's holding it down. He's like, yeah, it's mine. I'll hold this. Yeah. Good boy. Good boy with your bone. Sweet little bean. He's just a happy boy. Man, I love how it dip off for like less than like 2 minutes because of the pill break. And now it's all like quiet. What in the tarnation Sam Wells hell is this nonsense? What we having a delightful conversation, and this is what I come back to. Silence and a void. Manos. And everything between, ¿por qué? Hey. Isn't it right, Jess? Oy vey. That's awesome shirt. Oh wow, Shock actually did. Probably help. Why are you on top messages? Go to all messages, YouTube. Be proper. There we go. Good. Dios mío. Dios mío. Y'all know you're all one reason why I'm still hanging out here, right? The silence is not helping. I'm literally debating on, if I'm like, all right, is this the end of the road? Because I'm not necessarily feeling that. Put y'all on the spot. Because I literally will just, continue to Uguay Vito and then his bone. Which I guess he gave up on. What are you doing? You're just sniffing things now. Get that bone. Get that bone, boy. chunk foof. Did you just roll your eyes at me, Jazzy? I looked at her. She kind of did this like, oh. She just did that to me. Like, wow, you are just a little queen. You're just like, yeah, I guess I don't get any of that. Thanks, Onk. Wow. Wow, Chunk. You a jelly bean, even though you're not, you never show it. You're not very, like, active about showing it, but you are very passive about it. I see that in your eyeballs. It's some of the little loves of stretches is helping her, though. She's kind of in like, oh yes, I do kind of like this, though. Aww. Big ol' bean. Yeah, she's liking this. This is a substitute for her. She's like, okay, I do kind of like this. Though she just kind of buried my hand. Really? Oh my lord. Well, at least I freed my hand. Little softball chunk. Here's a goofy little thing. Vito's just too happy. He's just like, on comb, like a bone. Acknowledge me. I'm happy now. The home slice, you just kind of like scattered everything around because you're trying to make a little bit. What are you doing? Oh, you're such a bean. He's a silly boy. What a goofy doge. What a goofy bean indeed. And jeez Louise. We were chilling, hanging, and popping. And now it's just this, it's just straight up. Not even a peep. Not even a ponder. And not even a thing. Nothing. Well, at this rate, I think I might slowly but surely, get myself a little bully pool or something. I don't know. I could be intrigued to stick around longer, but I kind of need some encouragement. Just a smidge. I'm not quite ready to wrap it up all yet, but an echo in the ether. Yo, yo. What the fuck are you doing, Jazzy? You are insulting me for feats. Oh, someone's getting comfy. Oh my lord, she got comfy. Oh no, she's like, oh hell no. Goofy thing. Man, she tried to assault me with her little feats. Just for a scritch where I could have easily gotten that. I could have gotten that scritch. Oh, she's just like, oh hell yeah. Good for me. think they killed most of the troll shock troops. That's fine. I don't necessarily blame it. Okay, now you're just poking your little nose at my elbow, and it's not comfortable. Oh, she's giving me a look. It's so cute. Oh. Stop being so cute with your little puppy face. But also, like, if they killed the trolls, that isn't even entirely true, though. I've been a few times where they, I'll pop them up and be like, look, these bangs. And people be like, oh, yeah, you're that fairy, right? Well, that means you don't tell me, bro. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Doesn't happen often, but once in blue moon it does. I actually had my first motherfucker, do some shit like that with my niece the other night, too. And I was like, normally I'll fuck around troll with people like that in the sense of like, nah, you detestable gross fuck, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, nah, this is like my family. You're talking like something personal close to home to me now. Like, go fuck yourself, actually. Like I went off, when that happened. I think my roommate, got home shortly after that, and he was like, what's up, bro? I'm like, I'm popping off about some shit. He was like, what do you mean? I'm like, this. Because, man, shit like that do grind my gears sometimes. Of course, the internet is absolutely nothing but a fucking sewer. But hey, I'm on the rata that runs amongst it. It swims in the sewage, too. I'm a part of the muck. Aren't we, Jazzy? You big old chunk. Theo. Bone. Get that bone. Is that a bone? Oh, Jazzy's like, I'm activated. Get the bone, Jazzy. Get the bone, Jazzy. Get it, Jazzy. Good girl. Vito, you're supposed to get bone. Jazzy's little noises. Oh, she's going town. Hey, come here, Vito. Hey, you want to be a punk? Come here. Vito, up. Up, up. Come on, boy. You can do it. Good boy. Good boy. I will say I'm also like a good water treatment plant when it comes to the sewage. You know what I'm saying? At least I'm like one of the different processes of water treatment that helps clean it up. You know what I mean? Dude, there's even been people, like, and random people more often than not lately that are like, yo, bro, like, you're actually, like, a breath of fresh air of, some bullshit on, these short lives, dude. I'm like, glad to be. And I don't even think they give a fuck about the politics or anything that I'm talking about. I think they like the idea that there's just a dude that's a person and ain't doing wild shit. They're just talking and chatting. You know what I mean? Like, I think there are people that generally just like that regardless of whatever the topic might be, which I love, honestly. I do, respect and love that there are lurkers that are probably like that. And maybe once in blue moon, they might say something like, like I just said and shit like that. And then be like, yo, like I actually just like the fact that you're just a person. And even if maybe I don't care about that particular topic or this and that, I at least, like that you think about shit and say shit, that isn't just like some weird bullshit, for the algorithm, which is kind of funny because I kind of am doing that, but at least I'm still be genuine with it. You know what I mean? And I think that's what ultimately people appreciate because I am genuine when I do this shit. There's still like a persona and like an element of like a character, still there. Like I'm not like this in public, all the time. Maybe more so friends or people I'm pretty close with. Maybe I'm a little bit more open like this, but I mean, ultimately I'm pretty more like laid back and more of an observer and analyze people first, especially in conversation before I like really get open to people, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't open up right off the bat and be like, "Hey, what's up?" Like kind of shit. Like I usually am like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing? What's your story?" And then just let them talk, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I let when or get introduced or like talk to people that's new. I usually like let them talk more than I do, and then eventually, I mean, it gets to my swing of things where I do a lot of talking, about different things. But I kind of like to gauge, who I'm talking with a little bit, if that makes sense. I guess just so I have an idea about like, oh, you like these topics. Oh, I actually can relate to that. Oh, you got some cool stuff. Little things like that where I'm like, I can at least get an idea of like, all right, now I have something to work with a little bit with you. You know, if that makes sense. I mean, still like, maybe it'd be like one little thing, be like, you got a fucking cool jacket, bro, and then just one thing leads to another, right? But either way, I always look at it in that way because I want to have a better idea about talking with somebody than being able to at least relate to a conversation. At least if like, oh yeah, I know that, blah blah blah, and then talk to someone that's at least relatable. I don't want to be like, it reminds me of this one show, bro, kind of thing. Like that's a little too much. You know what I'm saying? Unless it gets to that topic. But either way, I mean, the point being though is like, at least like try to gauge the waters a little bit first. Especially once I know someone's really cool as fuck, I'm definitely way more open to just talk to them, and especially even in that moment too. So most of the lives are shit. This is the best one. But you got Phoebe too, and then you got Palsy. I don't know. There's others out there that are pretty cool. But yeah, like for the most part, it's such a fucking rarity. It is just Rod. I will entertain it too. Like if I happen to see Phoebe live and I have some spare time, be like, what's the other short lives like? I'll just scroll through for like a minute or two, just seeing what's there. And weirdly, there will be some very eccentric, kind of cool-ish people being like doing karaoke or music or whatever, or like emo looking, or maybe they're drag queen or drag king sometimes. I've seen shit like that, but then there's all sorts of other weird shit that's out there too. I'm like, what the fuck is this, dog? Like this is bad. Like what is it? This should like low key be reported, even though technically there ain't nothing wrong with it. Like what the hell, dude? I don't know if anyone's seen it, but there's like this YouTube short live that I've seen that happens a lot where it's like these parents of this disabled child that has like a really oversized head. I hate to say it, but like kind of like a Megamind head a little bit. And they're just there on stream with that kid just there while they're just like hanging out, caught, holding the kid, just literally just there. They're not interacting with the chat or nothing. They're just there. I'm like, what? This is kind of fucked. Yeah, Drudge, you've seen it. Yeah, like Drudge. But yeah, you've seen it. But yeah, you know what I mean though. And because I've like seen it enough on my algorithm, when I will scroll through it a few times, like it will just generally pop up occasionally. I'm like, don't recommend this to me. It's just like this is kind of fucked. I mean, I don't know if they're actually being legit about it or like they're just using their child for like exploitation, but it's like, man, it is really ultimately exploitative and I fucking hate it. No, I can't see it. Yeah, dude, I can't either. I mean, it like I said, it's exploitative as fuck, and it's probably legitimately like from what I can gather, because I even looked up, and Googled, that channel, and like seen, I kind of did like a little cursory research about it. They're definitely like a family from India, and the child does have like a legitimate like disability, and a physical like some I forgot what it was, but I mean, so there are real people, but like even on my research it was seen like yeah they're kind of exploitative because they don't do anything besides just let the kid be there as the main front face of the stream when they're just there. It's like, I mean, because at least in my experience when I've seen it, even I'll sit there for a minute even reading the chat just seeing what people say, and it's like some of it's fine and some of it's actually kind of fine where even I'm kind of like, ugh, that's actually kind of fucked. But at the same time, it's like I I feel like it's fucked even having watch time on that stream or that channel. It's just so ugh. I don't know. It just don't sit right, no matter what. Maybe they're trying to, raise money to help with treatment or whatever the fuck, but it don't matter. It's just so exploitative. Are you? Well, not too bad, despite our initial topic that we just had, which is broadly about how some of these YouTube short lives can be fucked. You know what I mean? Regardless if there's actual merit to it or not, it's like. That's why I really, even I will advocate and say to myself, mean like, others, mean like, yo, I hope to be at least somewhat of a respite, of the absurd shit that can be on the YouTube short lives. Because I know how the algorithm works. There's a lot of people that literally pop on here scrolling that shit. What are you talking about? Funny enough, probably no offense taken, hopefully, people like you popping in on like short lives, like what I'm doing, because of some of the wild, insane shit that are YouTube short lives and shit. Like, and how I like to at least see it myself as a respite of like, hey, you know, vibe how you want, but we chill here. Yep, just scrolling. Exactly. You're actually unironically a perfect example of what, funny enough, I'm talking about right now. And you're literally, like, you literally actually unintentionally were an example of what I was just saying. Like, I mean, because that is actually what I'm talking about, basically. Because, like, I'd like to try to be that way, especially because of how much wild shit there is, because I've done it. I'll scroll through YouTube short lives, as well, just to see what's around. There's some cool stuff, but also there's some pretty insane, crazy shit. And also just some really sad, just like, oh, that's fucked, kind of shit. Like we were just talking about one where I don't know if you've seen before. Maybe you did on, your little scrolling. Like with I think it's like this Indian family that has like this disabled child and shit. I don't want to get too much into it again because I just, brought it up. But I mean, that's one of the things where I've mentioned. I'm like, whether they may have good intentions, it's just kind of exploitative and kind of fucked. You know what I mean? It's like, ugh. And there are sometimes, shorts, or especially on the lives where I've seen that, being like, ugh, I saw it on my way here. Why is what the YouTube algorithm pushing out on everyone? Because I knew I wasn't the only one. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and the fuck thing is, they don't even do anything. They're not even advocating like, hey, they have this disease and this and that. And we were trying to raise money to help, our child, and blah blah blah. They're not even doing. They just sit there. They're literally just like holding their kid, and sometimes a different parent or some different family member just there, just literally like, just literally that, like, just so disinterested. It's like obviously there's like a rotation, that they got where it's like some family member has to be there to like, yeah, for this stream, you're there holding the kid, basically. It's like, man, so many of them are just like, I hate this. Which makes it even more fucked. Last time I saw it, they were sleeping. The last time I did see it, the kid was sleeping, but the mom, I think it was the mom. She was like barely awake, but she was doing this, like, kind of trying to read the chat, I think, and then she's just like, and then she kind of snuggled up to kid for a second, and then just like, and then started sleeping. And I was like, okay. I mean, that's why I think they're trying to be genuine with it, but why not do something with it? You know what I'm saying? Not it as the kid, but like with the content they're trying to, because it just feels fucked. You know what I mean? Not trying to bring it up so much again, but still, it's just like, I mean, if there's some genuine merit to it, like, then why not make it look better? you know? I mean, it definitely is another source of income. I could tell. And I've seen, even when I'm in the live chats, well, not active in it, but I'll look at it. There are people send super chats. I mean, so people will send money to them. So obviously, and they're probably monetized on YouTube too. So they're probably making income off of it, which is probably why they do it. They're like, hey, this is legit a source of income to help our kid and our families overall. So fuck it. That's just what we gotta do with it. Which is even more fucked because that's just how like the capitalistic hustle is sometimes with certain shit. It's just like oof, oof. Preset, yeah. Well, let's not keep going on about them specifically. I mean, we're not. That's not what we're trying to do here. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just like I said. They were like one of the examples I was thinking of because a lot of other people have seen it before. A few different people, even a couple mods, mentioned like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Point being, though, it's like there's some wild shit, and I want to be that respite and a good vibe. We can be serious and be real and have some, be serial for a minute. You know what I mean? But like, hey, we try to chill. Try to chill a little bit, even when we be serious. Yeah, GoFundMe absolutely would be better. I suppose it would even be better in my mind if the kid also at least was aware of that situation, but they obviously aren't. If they are aware about it, then and if also like are active in creating that content, then I don't care. I actually follow these cool. I think they're friends or maybe brothers. I actually don't know, but they're but it's like this Down syndrome duo on YouTube that I've found through YouTube Shorts actually, and I found them because they would like do like cooking videos, and I actually like was like, this is actually kind of cool. This is wholesome. I love this, and I would like look at their full videos. I'm like, I fucking love this shit. I don't know why YouTube hasn't really popped up their shit in my feed that much because I think they're actually awesome. I always would check out their videos whenever I saw it, but like they were literally the ones that were like active about creating the channel and doing the whole thing, and they're the ones who are actively like obviously outside of friends and other people helping them, like they were the ones who wanted to do it because they want to have fun, and even I think they even mentioned once being like, I want to bring joy to people because this is fun, kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, who doesn't love it? The Downs Are Up. I think that's the channel name. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you know what you're talking about. But yeah, like for real though, who doesn't love them? They're awesome. Even when they have like the little moments of like, oh no, you didn't get the right thing, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like when they kind of have their little slip ups. Even then, it's just awesome. It's like, man, because they don't mind. It's all good, and plus the results are still there. Because even like one of them or the other will be like, no, it's that. Come on, you got to grab that kind of thing, and then they finally do it, and the other one or vice versa does it, and they're like, yeah, I need that. Let's do it. Starts cutting up some like veggies or some shit to put in that stew or whatever the fuck they're doing. It's like, I love that shit. I will say there is something about people that genuinely that have Down syndrome that I will say that like I feel like it's incapable of them to like be stressed, if that makes sense. Like it feels like they just are incapable of having a sense of like angsty stress of like, bruh, why are you fucking up? You know what I mean? Like they just don't have that. And I love that. I'm like, that's like a genuine like silver line in my mind because man, I yearn for that. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. I genuinely yearn for that like patience of such saint. And I'm already pretty patient about shit, but I will say the older I get, the less I can be that way. Or I'm like, see, I start getting a little bit more like that more often, at a certain point. But like, not people like that though. Like I will say, man, it's like shit. I fucking yearn to be able to like have such patience perpetually throughout my life. Basically, that's awesome. I love that shit. They're mad strong. Yeah. I mean, not necessarily be defensive, but they don't say retard strength is a thing for nothing, right? I mean, because there really is a weird virtue of that, but it's not because of that though. It's just on the virtue of adrenaline and like there is actual, this is part of it where it's like when you're more, for lack of better words, I suppose, because I'm just bro science in it right now, more like tapped into like the primal just urge, so to speak. You know, again, bro science in it. I, if I had like the proper terminology, I'd say it better. But regardless, like, you know, you generally will have that boost of adrenaline where, regardless if you really aren't that muscly or this and that or whatever, you generally just suddenly have like a burst of strength, because of that adrenaline and excitement. And then it could be because of the aggression or just because they're having fun and not realizing their true strength kind of thing. I mean, that's really, I think, what's part of it. It's just on the virtue of adrenaline and excitement and the hormones and the chemistry that comes with that. I mean, it's not the virtue that, people are neurologically disabled, or, retarded or whatever, somehow have secret strength. It's just, they just don't know their actual strength. I mean, hence why they hit harder a lot more than not, because they just don't know that. And honestly, I mean, even then, there's a lot of people that just probably don't realize their own true strength sometimes, and they fuck somebody up, being like, "Oh, damn, I really did fuck him up." Like, "Oh shit," like, I got that strength. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just when it comes to shit like that. I've seen it before, where it's like, "Damn, I did kind of fuck him up," but you know what? Fuck him anyway. I've seen that before. It's just a genuine, lack of realization of that strength. Because some people just don't got it. They just aren't really necessarily tapped into that because they haven't really practiced slash like worked with what their strengths and capabilities are. At least in that sense. And that's no fault to anybody, regardless if they're neurodivergent or not, or anything else in between. Do you like to have fun genuinely? Yeah. I mean, no, 100%. I mean, like, I mean, I will say, like, I'm autistic, but I mean, I suppose, I don't know if you would know it or not, but, like, because I am neurodivergent, but growing up, I was somewhat tangential with some other kids that were, more neurodivergent than I was, and legitimately would, like, for the most part, as long as there's fun, going on, they were like, they had no filter about their fun. And growing up for myself, I was the same way. I mean, as I matured more, like I eventually did have somewhat of a filter because you don't want to go too fucking full flam about your fun. It gets a little e- extra, for some people. There's a balance with being like that, depending on circumstances. But point being though, it's like I grew up with a lot of kids, that were like that, especially in, the education system that, honestly, like, I've even noticed that they wouldn't really be like, happy or very frustrated about a lot of shit, but, and the teachers wouldn't necessarily be able to help, but I don't know how or really why. Maybe I just had like that gift of gab, I suppose, but like, did that tongue, but they'd be chill with me, they'll be like, I'll talk to them a little bit, like, what's the issue? I can't figure this out, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, oh, this actually ain't that hard. Here, let me show you. I'm like, okay. And then I'll be like, no, it's actually, I think this, and you just do that, and blah, blah, blah. And that's how you do it. Like, I would actually, like, like, help them out with whatever it is, or whatever the fuck. And they'd be like, hey, okay, yeah, awesome, cool, yay, and they will suddenly be happy again. They would just like, it's like it never happened. It's like, I mean, happens a lot more than you think sometimes, and it is kind of like a, oh, yeah, kind of empowering thing. Especially when you're also struggling with shit like that too growing up, but still being able to somehow do that despite that, with your own self. Kind of nice. Definitely, helped me make who I am now for sure. I will say, I wish I was a little bit more of a smidge of an asshole. Just a smidge. Just an extra garnish, if that makes sense. I will say that I'm a little too much of a empathetic people pleaser, where so to speak. Not so much anymore, but there definitely was a time where I was legit just straight out of fucking doormat, and I'm still like having to, kind of get my more blunt asshole side out of me a little bit, but definitely a little bit more open when it comes to shit like that. Especially honestly, like, oh my god, little side tangent. There's this one motherfucker who I guarantee you someone was probably like a I smoke crack meth guy, like, cause he would literally be like, hey bro, hey yeah, yo, you smoke, bro, and he always hangs out here. Not all the time, but this is like one of his little hangout spots, basically. Not literally where I'm at, but like just literally over on this intersection. And this morning on the way to work, he was over there being like, hey, bro, hey, you smoke, bro, hey, bro, hey. And I had one earbud in, but the one that I had out was on his side, so he was like, I'm taking advantage. And I just kind of glared at him like, I know you, shut up. Like, you've said this to me plenty of times, I don't, then fuck off. I just said that, and he just went, and he just like, he just kind of just didn't say anything and just kept walking. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. What is it now? That's how, as soon as he starts saying, hey, bro, I'm literally like farming information. I'm like, what is it now? And then I'm like, yeah, that's right. Fuck off. Yeah, that's right. Because, dude, he's done this so, I swear, he doesn't even remember who I am. The next time he does it, I'm literally going to be like, bro, and like, do this. I'm like, you have said this to me so many times. How do you not recognize my face? You have done this to me saying, do I smoke and shit, and I don't. Quit asking me this question. Go fucking talk to anyone else about this, but look at my face and remember it, and the next time you see it, don't fucking approach me. And then just walk off. Because I swear to God, if there's like, if you want to start some bullshit that, I don't give a fuck, dude. I'm sick of it. He's done that to me where, like, my friend, Logan will pick me up in his car sometimes where we're, like, going somewhere else and we hang, meet up at this intersection, or even other places up and down 82nd where he will be there. Walk up and be like, hey, bros. And even Logan will be like, no, fuck you, and then just immediately bum rush out of there onto the, intersection, out on the street. I don't blame him, because it's like, dude, you're literally are just desperate looking to anybody, don't matter, for your fucking crack, meth, fucking I don't know what fix. Or a cigarette, I don't give a shit. But like, oh my god, dude. Falling down. No, unironically, dude, I'm about to be fucking like, Michael Douglas on his bitch ass. Like, straight up, dude. Like, dead fuck ass. By the way, good reference. What are we drinking? Beer Hug. From Chicago. Goose Island Brewing. I'm actually kind of surprised. Where's my homeboy? Mono. I figured he would have been off work by now. Well, he obviously is by now, but like I figured he would have. He's on it. He's hanging out with people or something. Oh boy. Puff grass. Puff grass. Puff ass. Quit being greedy. If I could telepathically fucking send a hit to you, dude. When that technology is available, let me know, and then we can, talk it out. How about that? Or come to Portland. Maybe you can find me. Oh. Nice. Give it to me. Same for you, dog. Same answer. Shotgun me. I don't think you want to shotgun this. I sure shit ain't. for one, it's a tall boy, and for two, it's 9.9%. Like, and for three, it's an IPA, and for four, despite how nice and tasty it is, not really like an IPA when it comes to its like hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, falling down the skin. Give it to me. Come on, give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Yeah, come on, you little fat. Give it to me. Give it to me. Yeah, give it to me. And then he just gets a fucking knife in his fucking shoulder and oh, I see. Now we understand the freedom of religion. Now you're about to understand the freedom of the Second Amendment. Or I think it was vice versa or something like that. But yeah. Hey, look at this. An actual cyclone canister used. This is used on the Jews, man. Hear it? It's empty. Fucking psycho, dude. Dude, I love how that video movie is free on YouTube because when I saw that I took full advantage, man. I haven't seen that movie forever, and I saw that about a month or so ago, and I might need to rewatch it again. It's such a good fucking movie, dude. I love that movie. Cyclone B, dude. You know what's honestly fucked though? You know motherfuckers in the US like him existed and probably unironically still there's people in the United States that have collections like that. There's people out here in the United States of, you know, this fucked Klansman America where, you know, Operation Paperclip motherfuckers, you know, came over with that shit. And now you got like some weird Confederate neo-Nazi fucking Idaho that probably has like a stash of that shit, bro. Dead ass. You know about world jewelry? What? No. What are you referring to? We're talking about a movie, bro. I'm just saying in tandem that there are like far-right Nazi weirdos that probably legitimately have that shit. Like, you know, just like the movie with that one neo-Nazi, you know, gun shop owner from Falling Down that Judge Dredd's talking about. I mean, that's what we're talking about. I don't know what you're inferring about. Are you talking about like Israel? Because that's very much different, you know, when it comes to like just Jewish people. There's a lot of plethora of Jewish people, especially in Portland, you know, like outside of like maybe only like one time ever, arguably, that I could think of. Maybe two. But like at least only one time ever I've met like a Jew who was actually legitimately a Zionist. Pretty much every other one I've ever met was anti-Zionist and against the Israeli state, and you know the broader, you know, Zionistic money lending and shit with AIPAC and this whole Israel first narrative and shit. But that's just my experience. But also at the same time, you know, especially with my own like research and learning about it, like most Jews don't believe in the broader Israeli state narrative and that idea. There's a lot of them that do, unfortunately. You know, especially a lot of them that live in Israel. You know, but that doesn't mean that all of them are lumped into the same thing. Interesting. I mean, I don't know. What's your take about it? I mean, part of it's anecdotal, but also a lot of it's fact too. Even like back in the even before Israel was a state, there was this movement when it came to a lot of especially Eastern European Jews called the Bundist movement, which is also a very predominantly labor left-based anarchist movement that was essentially like, hey, we disagree with this whole Israeli state slash like homeland narrative. Our home is the nations that we live in. And at the time, you know, it was like the Tsarist Russia. It was like, you know, eventually Poland. It was a lot of shit like that. It was different countries, you know, that would either be established or, you know, weren't yet because of Tsarist Russia, or like the, you know, Weimar Republic, you know, at the time, or maybe even the Prussian Empire, you know, even prior to World War I. depending on what particular timeline we're talking about with the specific context. But regardless, like a lot of them had this broader philosophy of called the Bundist movement or Bundism, where it was predominantly a labor left idea, where a lot of these Jewish communities within these different countries wanted to be a part of that country. Say no, we're just as much as workers and citizens and people of your nation just as much as anybody else. We are a diaspora. Like we are here, to have a home and be a part and be in cooperation and solidarity, especially with other workers, to establish ourselves here because we're a diaspora. That's a part of our broader Jewish struggle, as what they put in tandem with their broader philosophy. Is that we're meant to be a diaspora. It told that Christ returns, so to speak, or at least officially shows up in their idea. When Christ officially arrives, they're meant to be a diaspora and have the struggle. And that's the whole idea of the Bundist movement. And that was like the early ideas of pretty much like at this point, like early anti-Zionism, but also from a labor leftist perspective too. Like it's a very interesting idea that I've read about when reading about like Zionism and some of the early foundations about this shit, because obviously it's never been about like all Jews when it comes to this shit, and I knew that, but I want to learn more about it, and this was one of the things I was like, oh, I need to have this kind of clicked in my brain a bit, because this is actually legit one of the pinnacle things that when Zionism especially was starting to become an idea, especially around like the 1890s to the early 1900s, especially gaining popularity in the 20s and 30s, which the British and also the Nazis too, by the way, worked with various different Zionist revisionist philosophers, to say, no, we need to have our own home state and have, the extradition slash deportation of Jews out of Europe into Israel, and then that's where the Lahmud terrorist organizations prior to the establishment of Israel, and also the first Nakba first established, was because of a lot of the money and the investment of you know basically extraditing and deporting with money, and with the whole Zionist propaganda revisionist idea of like returning to the homeland bullshit to essentially start the Israeli project and the Israel project. There's actual fucking fact to back that up, by the way. I'm not saying bullshit. That's why I'm saying that like Zionism especially is very inherently anti-Semitic when it comes to like also being in tandem with like very fascist Nazi-esque anti-Semitism. They go hand in hand a lot more than you think. And the fuck thing is, just the Jewish people abroad, regardless if they're like Bundists or not or whatever, they get lumped in, as like a part of the problem, even though they're not. How do you feel about the books that burn? I'm curious. No book should ever be burned. I don't know if you ever read the book Free Speech for Me, but Not for Thee, but I own that in my little personal library. That's one of the books I need to get over here moved at some point, because I have that little library in my old room back in my old spot. But like it's a really good book to potentially read. I think author, it's like Nat something. I forgot the last name of the author, to be honest, but if you literally just look up "Free Speech for Me, but Not for Thee," the book on like Google, you should be able to find it very quickly. But like I said, it's a very good book, when it comes to at least, speaking about like that type of stuff. At least when it comes to idea of book burnings, or like when it comes to language policing, thought crimes, shit like that. It kind of explores various different elements about those topics. I think it's like Nat. I know this surname is like H, like with the letter. So I know that much. I just forgot his last name. It's like Holden or like Hedolt or something like that. I forgot exactly what it was. I know it's like Nat, and then the last letter of his surname is H. or the first letter. You know what I mean. I would add to my list. Well, you should. Pretty good book. By the way, another really good book, to add to your list is Death in the Haymarket by James Green. That I do have around here somewhere, and that is a really excellent read, especially when it comes to not just immigrants, but also like the labor movement, the Haymarket affair, and also when it comes to a lot of different elements about like industrialism and the corporatocracy even back then. So again, it's called Death in the Haymarket by James Green. What books have you read? The God Delusion, Astrophysics for People that are a free speech for me, but not for thee. Uh, Death in the Haymarket. Um, I'm almost done reading Dune, but I haven't read that in a long time, so I need to probably go back a couple chapters just to kind of rehash my shit a little bit. You know what I mean? So, um, but I do have the whole collector's edition. I just need to get it over here and then start reading that, especially for the eventual third movie of Dune that will come out. God Emperor, dude. Ooh. Um, I've also read The Hunger Games. Not the new books that I recently found out were a thing. I've only read the first three. Um, I've read Hatchet. I've read Catcher in the Rye. I've read Hamlet, which I guess is a play, but I've read what the what's the name of that movie? Oh my god, I almost had it and I blanked on it. The Great Gatsby. I've read that. Um, I don't own it by the way, but I've read it. Um, I've read Cosmos by Carl Sagan. I've read well most of it. I will say I didn't read all of it. I've read The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins and The God Delusion. I think I mentioned that, but what else? Honestly, like I'm starting to like weirdly blank because like I will say there's a lot of books that I've read but are not really like known books too as well. They're like Viking history books. I've read the Prose Edda. I've read the Vinland Saga. Like I've read that shit, but people don't know that. I've also read the Icelandic Saga and the Greenland Saga and the Vinland Saga. Um, what else? I mean, I can keep going with my list. Like, I haven't been as much of a prolific leader. Well, that too. But at least as a prolific reader as much as I want to. Especially as of late, I've fallen off so bad in like the last 2 or 3 years, and I just need to get back into reading so bad. Is that thing with you, Chicago base? No, I'm a Cascadian P&W guy through and through. I mean, yeah, I drink these Goose Island beers from Chicago, and I wear the hat, but no. I mean, hey, you know what? Fuck it. Hat transition. Transition of the hats, bro. And then the Norwegian flag, because fuck it. I didn't mean to do that, but that happened. Because the hat I'm wearing right here is actually one out of 5 hats from a local Portland ska core band called Los Malhablados. And this hat is, as you can tell, been it for many of the journeys. And plus has many pins of all sorts of other bands. Got Battle Beast right there. You got Fang. What else? DRI, Dirty Rotten Imbeciles, can't never go wrong fat, Voodoo Glow Skulls, a little furry pin because I'm a good puppy, ooh woo. And then what else? Actually, hold on, what else do we got on here? Now that we're deep dive. Got Against All Authority. I didn't see them live, unfortunately, but goddamn, boo. But I did get a free pin out of it. There's Triple Lutz, Los Moblados again. Yeah, a little bit more of an official pin of theirs. And then there's Sepultura. I would skip this normally, but I'm fucking with it anyway. But then I got a Sepultura pin, which is limited edition. Back when they were doing their little farewell tour thing in the Brother Americas. Then we got the Last Responders, another Portland punk band. And then we got Saber right here. Bam. And then Testament, good old Bay Area thrash. And yeah, that's actually all the bands on there. Oh wait, no, there's Vicious Cycle. I forgot about them. This cool little like heavenly looking pin. Keep Portland weird. You goddamn fucking right. Keep Portland weird, brother. But you know what? We keep it raw. We keep it raw and weird and awesome and bass as fuck. Too bad our fucking local government and the state government sucks balls and their corporate liberal piece of shit. And we live in a close primary state because we suck ass, so there's that too. Oregon's awesome as fuck, but man, it's not as cracked out as it is, entirely. There's a lot of issues. Not the Fox News issues. That's a misnomer. I live in Portland. I would know. I mean, it's not like there are problems, but it's nowhere near as prevalent as people think it is. Take the time. Well, I mean, I'm always gonna. That's the point of the stream, right? You wasting my time, spending my time with the people. One question, I'm not trying to figure out anything, but why you got Down syndrome? You don't know what someone with Down syndrome looks like, bro. Oh, it's Bella again. What? Oh, come on. Weren't you chill earlier from the other night? Now you're doing that. Come on. Have a good one. You too, Zach. But hey, I hope you subscribe and, tune in again and, pop around sometime. Have some more fun and some vibes. I'm trying to be rude, though. Well, unironically, it literally was, though. When someone says, "Hey, trying to be rude, bro," proceeds to literally be rude, it's like that literally is kind of what happens. Like, come on. And, like I said, you don't even know what someone with Down syndrome looks like. Like, if that's the case, because I literally don't, bro. In what fucking way? There's literally nothing about me that... never mind. I don't even know, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Is there gangs in Portland? Yeah. I mean, they're not like your stereotypical gangs. They usually do like a lot of street racing and illegal like street takeover bullshit and stuff like that. It's mostly stuff like that, and I still fucking hate it because there's still like guns involved. People sometimes get hurt, shit like that. I mean, I fucking hate it still. It's not the same as like criminal drug. Like, oh yeah, you got like some game banger that's like, you're on my turf, bitch. Blah blah. Ain't that. Ain't none of that shit. It's really mostly like when it comes to the gang activity, just like street racing shit where they get together and like compete with each other, being fucking dumb shits, on the street. Doing like illegal drag racing or races or donuts or whatever the fuck. I mean, just legit dumb shit like that. Try some. Well, I also know what people in general look like with Down syndrome, and I'm literally the opposite of it. So I don't know. If we try to chill around a little bit, adults are talking. I'm gonna try to be dick because you've been around before, but consider it a warning. How much is rent there? What I'm doing right now, without utilities, it's 700, but with that included, it's about 800. I round it up usually, maybe 50-ish, give or take. It just kind of depends, but basically about that. I also have like kind of like back pay stuff that I have with my buddy anyway when it comes to my roommate, so I give him more like 400. I will like do like 500 for one paycheck and then like 400 for the next one, so it's like 900 altogether. So there's always at least a little that debt paid off kind of thing. So, or at least even maybe like another 500. It just kind of depends on my hours. Like I'll be like, hey, it'll be 400 maybe this paycheck, but the next one always like it's always a guaranteed 500 no matter what. But then at least maybe 400 maybe another 500 just to help pay off debt and other bullshit. So. Because I can for the most part, for all intents and purposes, it works for me. At least when it comes to my financial mobility with it. I'm probably at least gonna maybe shorten that down just to like raw utilities outside of maybe like an extra 100, on top of that, just on the virtue of like I'm pretty much about ready to get my e-bike that I want to get. I've been looking at them and I'm like, ooh, I actually have like a perfect, way to get some of that shit. But I'm just like, And after that, then it's pretty much like PC at that point. So it's a couple different things, but one bit by bit at a time. Am I in prison? I mean, if you called the United States of America a prison, then sure. Andrew Rick, are you serious? Yeah. That's, I mean, like I said, including utilities. But we're also splitting it. It's me and my friend splitting it. If it was on our own, it would be like 14, almost maybe 1,500 a month. So, or, including utilities, even more than that. That'd be more than I'd be making. Didn't leave USA. Yeah, with what fucking money, bro? Like it's that fucking easy? Or that simple? Or even maybe something I, want to do? Because I would like to actually maybe see the United States be fucking better instead of being a shithole. I don't know. Maybe I have different ideas and convictions about how I feel about it. Maybe I don't want to leave. Stop complaining. Maybe I fucking will. Maybe stop complaining about me, having grievances about the country I grew up in, bitch. It's called the First Amendment for a reason, dipshit. So much, what the fuck? For real, dude. What dipstick? Oh, you live in societies, but yet you complain about it, but yet you participate in it, bro. Yeah, like, be lucky you don't live in France, motherfucker, because, when it comes to, like, basic grievances, they pretty much riot every goddamn day. And they were inspired by the American Revolution back in 1776, so where's our fucking goosebump? It sounds like we're more anti-American than ever if we don't want to fucking, like, go the way of the French. They're legit on ironically more pro-American than we are. I mean, because of, like, how they were inspired when doing shit like that. And they still do. And you know what? That sounds like a good patriotic fucking duty. Especially when it comes to the government forfeiting the rights, and also, the advocacy of the people, foreign and domestic, by the way, when it comes to enemies of the people. And it's the duty of the people, by the way, including me, motherfucker, to be able to say and resist and have grievances against said government when they're against that. Not like you would care because you're loyal to that fucking pedophile mushroom cock addled dimensional fucking rotten mushroom pumpkin fuck anyway. I bet you get offended on the idea of 8647 because you wanted 6947. You wanted 69 that little mushroom dick, don't you, little turd? Tom Chuck Molotovs. Fat post, but let's just say that I obviously do not advocate for that whatsoever. You know what I mean? That's very bad. You should never do that. We should have a peaceful right to assembly, you know, and definitely not do that at all. Come on up here, you know. Dios mío. Violence and I heard I will not condemn it. I obviously 100% disagree with what you're saying. I hope the obvious, I don't take it seriously, but I obviously do. 100% YouTube. I 100% take this seriously. You know, makes it realize that, I obviously advocate for that. For what I say versus what you do, sir. You know what I agree with. Yeah, I mean, you know, I know. Come on now. I'm just trying to save face a little bit, okay? Just a little bit. Because I, you know, saying from earlier, I'm about like that 250 watch hours or less now at this point away from that monetization. So the more watch time, the better. I just will say that much. Because it's a nice little Monday morning, Sunday, always, you know, gay on Sunday night. Especially for the Lord. Blessed be the Lord for making us all queer. We gotta put it in Jesus' holes. Amen. Oh. Anyway, the powers that will push faster than more the weekend will be the people. For change. Well, Jesus. All right, I was having too much. Anyway, the powers that be pushed past us in order to weaken the will of the people for change, make them serve someone. Must be done to achieve freedom. Well, when it comes to unfettered fascistic capitalistic state, they're nothing but expendable, right? I think it's probably going to happen regardless, you know, of how we decide to see fit about it, right? And honestly, I mean, I detest them the most in a weird way, but like, they won't be the most punished, in my opinion. Like, I mean, they got to kind of maybe have an example, but that's why you got the far right chuddos, the maggots and shit, you know? That's the example. It's like, if you're that, like, oh my god, to the point where you're going to sympathize with that, then now we know what side you're on. You know what to say, scratch your liberal fascist bleeds, right? Maybe not necessarily for every lip. Maybe a lot of them understand and see the means of the end, so to speak, kind of thing, right? But, like, at least now we can understand, you know, when it comes to that conclusion, which side they're on, and then, you know, go from there. You know what I mean? In the best world outcome, I will say, because unfortunately, even if things do kind of broadly go in the left's broadly's kind of favor, I mean, I don't necessarily think something like that's going to happen. I do think that maybe the idea of abolishing ICE putting them to trial, putting this administration to trial. I do think that's a possibility, but I don't necessarily think that's in fruition or guaranteed whatsoever. And I'm not on any impression thinking that's going to be like, anywhere close to being a strong possibility. I just think that is a potential. You know what I mean? Like a potential out. Have you ever watched Borat? Weirdly enough, I know of it. I've seen clips of it, but I never actually seen the movie in its entirety. I don't trust him not to vote for the absolute worst people. I never wish allowed risky things. And I don't want it either. I'm a major advocate of reforming everything about our fucking system because it's just too fucking broken. And fingers crossed, maybe there's enough momentum where maybe that there's at least some reform that can happen, where maybe not every fucking thing that we would want happens, but enough of it does. Maybe the electoral college still think, but now we can push open primaries across the board with multi-ranked choice voting and shit like that, right? Like things that make it generally more of a democratic process. I mean, it's, at least when it comes to shit like this, it is kind of a one step at a time, but also it's like, do we really have time for that though? Because I'm kind of weirdly on the, I hate to say like on the fence about it, but I kind of am, because like I get like we're in a pinnacle moment, but we need more of that pressure, right? But also like voting and then having these right people and the right politicians in place, it's a good thing. I mean, like, I'm kind of literally all the above approach, I think. That's why I feel like I'm on the fence about it, because I guess I'm really not, because I'm all the above approach. Like, we gotta do everything. When it's the most meritable, especially when there's, like, the ripe opportunity and, your specific local votes and shit, like, for, like, a Mamdani, for example, you gotta, like, go all in. But it's not everywhere, but that momentum is still there, though, to some degree. There's probably someone on your city council or, like, your fucking, local county shit or something, like, that's actually a decent person that actually got legit momentum. Potentially, legit. But, I mean, regardless, so you're not going to be able to really get the right candidate for some shit like that unless you're actually, doing some practice and doing some direct action, maybe finding someone who rises above the fray to be like, yo, you should probably be the one to run and challenge this shit because you're actually like a really genuinely a good person and know what you're doing and really vibe with a lot of people. Because like Mamdani did that. He literally was like, working with the DSC as like, a volunteer and like, someone working on the side. And then they just like, yo, you really are like really great with people. Why don't you run for mayor? And he got encouraged enough to just say, fuck it and do it. And look where he is now. You know what I mean? And he is legit, unironically, probably at this point, as far as I'm concerned, the best politician in the fucking United States. The best. As it stands right now. Like, flaws and all, like, he's legitimately, like, the best politician we've had in the United States in a long fucking time, and it is such a breath of fresh air, and I'm so jealous that New York is the one that has him. Because that's America's mayor, baby. That's my mayor. That's our fucking mayor, motherfucker. Like, I mean, because he is a badass motherfucker. Like, because he's legitimately, like, shown, if you can just, like, really truly have that passion, like you will get a lot done, especially when you got like the knowledge and the guzma for it. And there's plenty of people out there like that, but they need to be pushed to the fray, but they need to also be proactive too, and that's why, especially when it comes to the DSA and stuff, for example, like that's why we need to be pretty proactive with like expanding that movement, not just at the PSL or any other organizations, but specifically the DSA, because they're at an all-time high. Their membership, when it comes to the organization, is at an all-time high right now. They can actually legitimately probably establish themselves as an official party, probably, at this point. Like, they're getting to that point. And by the way, I've always been a DSA member, too, by the way. I've always been, part of Democrat Socialists in America. But I definitely need to renew my membership, because I haven't, been able to do that for a while. But I need to kind of get back into my dues on that one. You can never win the election. I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be you. Hello, Father Russia. Buona zdrowie. Your America will soon be finished. Is that supposed to be a threat to me? Because that sounds like weirdly, unironically a good time. I want America to change and be fundamentally different. I want the current era of what America is right now to change and be finished. So, what? Are you teasing me of a good time? To say, or the FBI makes them docile like CPO say back in the day. You don't think that's already been happening even well before their momentum has grown? I mean, every organization on the left, even the PSL, Party of Socialism and Liberation, a lot of this Palestinian movement, especially when it comes to Mossad. Like there's all these organizations that have been co-opted at various different levels. Of course, that's literally just the day-in-day life of being a leftist. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, your organizations and your movements are going to be co-opted by the CIA and the FBI and Mossad and all these other organizations to fucking, stop your shit. Of course. That's the bread and butter of being a leftist, you know what I mean? That's just that it comes with the territory, basically. So of course. I mean, you gotta be vigilant. That's why I honestly like doing like kind of screenings and shit, especially when it comes to like memberships or like when it comes to people like this. Like it's not necessarily inherently a bad thing. I mean, maybe it doesn't inherently impact you on outside of being like, maybe they're a little flawed, you're a little edgy, but hey, everything's all good though. You know what I mean? Because I'm an edgy motherfucker. You know what I mean? But doesn't matter because ultimately I'm an advocate of everything that's right, and even then my ultimate philosophy about why I'm such an edgelord is because I detest language policing and shit like that. A lot of that liberal woke bullshit I detest as a leftist because that shit's annoying and stupid and stifles any actual conversation that is actually fucking meritable, especially when it comes to a queer ass motherfucker like me. Because, like, yeah, I don't inherently care that, like, yeah, I see figures sometimes. Like, that's, who cares? I call myself that all the time. Even on stream, I do that, right? Like, I ain't gonna police my shit on that. I mean, maybe certain stuff because it's understandable and valid, like the N word, for example, or like any other, like, racial slur, for, like, of course, but, like, there is a line in the sand, no matter what. But, like, at the end of the day, like, there's an actual merit to this, shit where it's like, you're just stifling the broader conversation here. Like, and it doesn't actually matter. Like, especially when it comes to someone who, quote, has a past, like me being a queer person myself, and saying faggot sometimes or whatever. Like, yeah, sorry, take it or leave it. Like, I am a faggot myself. I literally am. Like, I'm a bundle of sticks, bitch. And I'm gonna burn like a nice fiery ball of gasoline for you, baby. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm about. I don't care, like, I'm not Stonewall queer. Like, get offended about it, because that's what Pride's about. It's always meant to be a protest. It wasn't meant to be like something that straight Google at and be like, oh, well, look at them being awesome and happy about themselves. Hey, it was never about that. Just saying, because, like, hey, it's ultimately about how it costs in the streets, and this language policing shit is antithetical to that idea. It always was. I mean, what you'd think that, like, even, these queer advocates back then, gave a fuck. In fact, that was literally such a nomenclature that they openly prided themselves in calling themselves that too. whether it was like neutrinos or we're fairies or this and that, like because they had different terminology for slurs back then too, and even queer was a slur at the time. And now look at it; it's just a normal nomenclature for anyone who's in the broader LGBTQ. A queer person. Like, I'm bisexual, but I'm still queer because I'm part of that spectrum queerness of being LGBTQ. We own that shit now. And language policing does not help with any of that. Because why not own it a little bit? When it comes to certain things, why not? I'm autistic as well, by the way. You don't think I give a fuck about retarded? Because I don't. I mean, like, I say it a lot. I was saying it plenty of times earlier, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's just little things like that. Obviously, we can actually have a genuine conversation about various different things, especially when it comes to, like, racial shit. Like, that, to me, is off the table when it comes to what I'm talking about. Because that is fucked. Because we're all human, at the end of the day, we should never, stoop to that degree. Because that's fucked. Like, you don't choose to be, like, white, black, brown, Asian, this and that, or whatever. Or blue, green, turquoise, yellow, this and that, whatever the fuck. You don't choose that shit. That's just a roll of dice of genetics and, based on the parents, right? Like, who cares? That should never be like the end all be all. But yet, so many of these people are like, oh, yes, we have to, objectively look at it a certain way where it's actually like, yes, there is like foundations where, their personality or this and that about who they are is in tandem to that. And in fact, let's like make some shit around it, to where it's like, oh no, it's, we got to lump them in on all the same boat. It's like, no, fuck that shit. It's like, it's bullshit. I mean, like, I just like the one thing. Even my boss, funny enough, not to keep going further about it, but like even my boss, the other day when we were talking about it, one of the things that he said that he can never ultimately wrap his mind around is racism. And I was the same way. I even told him, it's like, yeah, I don't understand it either because like I it's like I get where you know people learn it and how like it becomes a thing to people in their mind and they become in that way, but like I just never understand why that is just such a thing that is so prevalent and even more normalized than ever in a long time in the United States. And he was like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Blah, blah, blah. It's like base boss based. So I'm just like, fuck, dude. I mean, it really is a problem. And, that is a line in the sand that I, strongly take, regardless of, this whole language police thing that I critique about. Because, we could still, like, understand and maybe even, let that language still be around, but, let it be in a contextual, understandable format and not let it be on the virtue of hatred, right? Like with the N word, for example, like it's used in a lot of rap music and a lot of music in general, and a lot of times, in a lot of cases, or there's contextual times where maybe you're saying a quote where it's there, right? I don't think that's necessarily bad. You're just saying quote, or it's part of a song, but it's a line of sand still. You can substitute it. I always do. I either do like ninja or neighbor. Mostly neighbor, because like that's more of a fun colloquial because like, hey, it's your neighbors, it's your friends, it doesn't matter who they are, they're your neighbors, right? Like that makes a little bit more sense to me because especially in the internet sense, like ninja is literally meant to be at this point kind of colloquial slash like internet variation of that, so it's like so I always just go with neighbor because it's like, hey, you gotta love your neighbors, right? I mean, sometimes you can actually have like good substitutes occasionally, when it comes to certain things, and that's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that either. Sometimes especially if you're like doing karaoke or some shit like that, it can actually add a little fun to it because like now you're kind of making your own thing instead. I don't necessarily actually understand when it comes to literal space aliens. Well, even then, I mean, I understand fear and unknown about it, but I mean, I'd rather, generally try to understand them and understand what they are about and stuff than be fearful, Let that curiosity expand a little. If you refuse to follow the speaker to offend you with it, lose all power. I mean, I understand what you're saying, too, yeah. I mean, because ultimately I do agree with you. I just don't necessarily think societally and culturally and shit we're there yet when it comes to a lot of these words and a lot of things that we're talking about, right? Like, we're not quite there yet. I generally would love to see to a society where the genuine bigoted harm of a lot of these words that we're talking about or referring to, at least, are they just don't hold the same thing anymore, and they're just words like any other word, right? Like, I generally want to see a society and a world where we can overcome this stupid bullshit and just, you know, maybe have a silly joke or edgy jokes and this and that, but no one gives a fuck because it just doesn't hold the same harm that it does now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we're just not there yet. I mean, I want to, though. Like, and I'm an advocate for that because, like, I want to generally, co-opt the bigotry and the hatred that comes with this language and the words that come from stuff like that. Because, like, I don't necessarily think, the words in themselves inherently are like, fundamentally like deathly damaging. But because of how we've used them in societally, culturally, and how we definitionally use them in lexicon and shit, especially in the United States and and all this stuff when it comes to various different words, I get it. Like, and that's why it comes back to the initial point. Like, I want to we should collectively as society be able to understand, like, we should overcome this shit. So these words don't hold such a hatred and such a hurt anymore. Like, basically co-opting it back and making it, owning it again. Maybe not necessarily like that, but like ultimately at least like taking it away from that hateful bigotry. You know what I mean? Like when it came, like for queer people, like because for back in the '60s and '70s, being called queer was considered a slur. Even up till like the '90s or like even the early 2000s, it kind of was to an extent. But it ultimately ended up being co-opted and being, seen as like, yeah, we own this shit because we are the queer community. Go fuck yourself. We're here, we're queer, we're here to stay, bitch. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's just like, at a certain point, like no matter what, if that's what you're gonna be called, own it in a weird way. I mean, like that's what it came to being queer. At least when it comes to that specific example, we own that shit. We don't let it hurt us anymore. I mean, we understand when it's being used for hurt by bigots and other people. That's fair. But hey, at the end of the day, you know, we understand that, like, the word in itself ain't gonna hurt us. It's the intention of how people want to try to use it, but we understand who those people are. They don't have to be saying you're a queer and stuff, to fucking, gauge that shit. In fact, they use a lot more harsher language anyway. Pretty easy to figure out. I remember dropping the episode as a teenager and now I see my fellow queer folk using it as a badge. Like I do. And even back then when I was a teenager, I was using that word as well. But you know what? We should own it because I own it. In a weird way, as long as it's like my fellow like friends, other queer people, even a partner during intimacy. I kind of like being called that. I'm not even gonna lie, I kind of do. But I will say, if it's from a right wing bigoted motherfucker like one of these chuds, and they are saying that to me, I know what that is. Those are fine words. I recognize it. Game recognized game. You have to have the pass. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the pass. Instead of the N word pass, it's the F word pass. You know what I mean? Like, you need the fact pass, in order to say it. You know what I'm saying? And if I don't grant it to you, then you don't get it. You know what I mean? And if you're saying that shit to me, and I'm like, well, why you being a closet fag? What, you want to suck my dick because you know I am, bitch, huh? You know, and then they were like, oh, wow, you're being so offensive to gay people now. I'm like, you literally just said it first, you dumb fuck. Like, you're the one who wants to suck on this, bitch. I know what your game is. Because, girl, you look good. It's like, I know what you secretly want to be. Because you're, so yourself is good. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I mean, hey, I'm just saying, man. I literally have had it happen at the ICE protest a few times before. That's the reason why I brought it up. Because, man, it is honestly generally pretty hilarious that, like, they want to throw around you and suddenly woke scold you like a liberal. And it's like you literally were being an edgelord fuck, and I threw back the same game at you, and now you want to woke scold me? Like, shut up. Like, fuck off. Like, I literally got you on stream, you dumb bitch. Like, they heard you. What, because I say back at your ass, suddenly you're like, like, yeah, maybe because I called you out, because I know you are in the closet. Silly little bitch. Man, I wish these MAGA shows would come back to Portland, man. It would make, going to those protests actually exciting. I don't want to just fucking haggle ice all the time. I haven't been there in a while, though, but still, it's like, man, next time I go there, I want to have a MAGA chud to fuck with, man. It's been so long. I'm withdrawing. I want to troll a MAGA fuck. I want, like, Tommy for Trump 420 to show up or something again. You know what I mean? Like, I want to fuck with one of them. Come on, let me troll one of them already. Keeping it school by what schools to think. Which will sense and nice if you accept that experiences. Are those people stuck in like 2014 or 2016 or some shit, bro? Like, dude, you gotta legit, like, talk to some OG legit lefties. Even Damage, bro. Like, at the rapper playing right now. I saw her live, and her and I were, even with my friend Tyler, like, we were all Metal Tea, like, we were all hanging out, for a bit, at the merch table, shit. And I even got pictures. I got pictures of her, right? And she even mentioned being like, yeah, like, nah, don't be guilty. Fuck woke skulls. Fuck these liberals. It's alright to be a faggot. It's alright to be a little, dirty trainer like I am. She didn't give a fuck. She was not language policing herself. And I was like, oh, what a base ass bad bitch. I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm like, dude, she is so awesome, man. I mean, like, I'm so glad I got a chance to, chow her for a little bit, I mean, because, dude, she's fucking legit. I know Hyperion, you would love the fuck out of her. She's awesome. This wasn't a Humanist Report comment section, which is kind of ironic because so many of them, especially with Mike, he literally, dude, I remember there was times he was reacting to Ben Shapiro back when he was still relevant, where he literally unironically was like, I have to stop myself from calling him the F slur. In some of his video segments, like, he's unapologetic about shit like that too, dude. He's not a fan of the language police shit either, because he literally, even on the Leftist Mafia, I don't know if you watched, that podcast with him and a bunch of others, that are with him and shit, but I, will tune in, and he will be popping the fuck off about some shit, be like, yeah, fuck, Rush Limbaugh, he deserved to die. Fuck, Lindsey Graham, he deserved it, and all this other shit. and they will be like, "Yo, bro, hold up, chill, fuck, like, we don't disagree, but yo, bro, yo, bro, you need to like calm down. We don't need to get demonetized and shit." He's like, "I don't give a fuck." He's like, "I don't give a shit. Fuck his ass. The damage and the evil he's done. Fuck him." You're lucky I ain't calling him the F sort stuff. Dude, he will do shit like that. I'm just like, damn, Mike. My little beast ass edgy little, Portland bro over here. Hey. Man, I still yearn for the day that I just somehow unintentionally just run into him. Because if I do, one, I'm definitely going to try to see if I can get a pick. And for two, oh my God, I'm buying him a drink and we're vibing and we're hanging out for a minute. Not even going to lie. And also, funny enough, my friend Ripsody found out that he potentially lives in his area, in like the Goose Hollow area of Portland. I'm just like, wow, dude, Rip, why are you doing that? I don't even know, like, because the district that he lives in is the same that Ripsody lives in, but also that encompasses a lot of other areas as well besides Goose Hollow. So I'm like, it's kind of weird that he narrowed it down. But that also potentially weirdly is like if there's like some bar or some other shit that's like in that district, basically, there is unironically a weird way I could see him or something. I'm just like, because I really do, and I hope there's like a meetup or something that he does or some shit. Because I'd rather it be that way. But like if there's just like an off asshole chance of like, oh shit, that'd be cool as fuck. I'm not trying to be like yearning for it, but I'm just like, it would be so cool. Lift special way and a little process supposed to be a secret or something. Something. They get mad at me when I say I don't want to listen to lectures. I don't like people all that. Well, I mean, I guess I'll have to put a pin on it for a sec. Because I have a little point to that, because I suppose I don't inherently disagree with you, but I also kind of ish do. Here, let me read the rest of what you were saying though first. Alright, I don't want to rest in corporation. Well, okay, I guess, and that actually added some more extra context to it. When, like, especially those, like, that I've, listened to or have even interacted with, even, like, the artists, like with Damage or even, who she collaborated with, a black artist named Amber Ryan, and a bunch of other different artists, and not just that, but also just the different scenes and places I've been to and communities I've interacted with and people I've interacted with, at least as acquaintances or just hanging out with, basically. I mean, it's not, and not just on, in person, but also online as well, by the way. But also, like, it's it's not literally like all white people. Like, I mean, you've heard about like the whole thing about like white culture and stuff like that, or like white privilege, right? Like, I mean, you can be a white person and not inherently necessarily have any of those specific privileges because of other factors of your life, right? Like, I'm one of those people to a certain degree, outside of other specific privileges I've had in my life. And my friend Logan's also one of those people. You're also one of the same. Like, I mean, just on the virtue of you being white doesn't necessarily mean that you have this flat out like wall and wave of like buffet of privilege. I mean, maybe when it comes to the systemic factors, like when it comes to like handling cops, dealing with the system itself, like going to court or this and that or whatever, like shit like that is a lot easier. Sure, It's not like, there is a certain level of privilege there. I mean, but not every single particular white person necessarily, gets that. But it's still something they can recognize and understand that is a thing. And understand that, like, yeah, there is plenty of white folk, and the majority of white folk generally probably, you know, take advantage of that, unintentionally or otherwise. And that's a genuine privilege, that they have, or privileges that they have. And when it comes to the broader, quote, blame of systemic racism and the fault of, like, white people and their privilege in that and shit, that doesn't mean everybody. And that doesn't mean every fucking white person. I met plenty of, people, especially when it comes to those that even advocate this shit. They're also white themselves, saying, like, yeah, like, I might have certain privileges that I did attribute to this, but nowhere near to the same degree as others, because I recognize that my family were very impoverished, this and that, etc. I mean, like, look at Phoebe, for example. Like, I don't inherently think that, despite her being, white, she had, like, the same level of privilege as any other, like, average Joe white guy or white gal, that exists out there, like maybe like a Brooklyn or Phoenix or Detroit or, Tallahassee or wherever the fuck, right? Like, I mean, it's gonna be different, like, and because of all the general factors of, what's at play of where you're born on the particular plot of dirt you are and shit, and your family and all sorts of stuff. Like, a lot of other factors play more of a major role than your color of your skin, ultimately. I mean, unfortunately, that it does play a role just on the virtue because of how our system is. And you can recognize the role in it, and also not necessarily be guilty knowing that, like, not just yourself, but also maybe even your parents, were not an active contributor to that. They were just trying to live being working class folk just like anyone else because they were impoverished too, right? I mean, like that. It doesn't have to inherently mean every fucking white guy or every specific, like, unique privileged person. Like, because there's a lot of us that, maybe have certain privileges, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, we're exempt from the struggle, and also, like, have some special, like, guilt, whatever. Because at the end of the day, I'm not guilty about, like, whatever my ancestors ever did. It's not my fucking shit. Like, I mean, I never. What am I gonna do? Like, go back in time and be like, "Don't do this. How dare you?" Like, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? You can recognize and maybe acknowledge, maybe what your ancestors have done and stuff like that, especially if you know about their history and about your ancestry. But who cares? Just be an awesome, good person now, of the now, right? Like, who gives a fuck about, like, your ancestry and all that shit? Not to sound like an asshole about it, regardless of, like, your privilege or not, or marginalized or otherwise. But ultimately, really though, who does? I mean, in the sense of just on the virtue of, like, shouldn't you, especially if you do or do not know your ancestors and this and that, and whatever how you feel about it, spiritually or otherwise, like, wouldn't you want to make them proud, so to speak, in the sense of, like, let me just be the best that I can be now. Like, focus on yourself in the now, right? Like, I mean, wouldn't that be better? Like, don't. I mean, acknowledge and understand the wrongs and the fucked up shit about the history of the past and the contemporary now and recent past and all that other shit. 100%. But, like, let's just ultimately be the best, for humanity and society, especially overcoming, bigotry and all this other shit too as well. No matter what, right? Like, I mean, regardless of what the past was, especially when it comes to, like, our lineage or whatever that happens to be, right? Like, at least that's how I feel about it personally. So some persons fathers for reasons and playing powerless people hating it. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that either. What you initially said, I mean, I won't say there is like a certain level of privilege in power, but like you don't necessarily have to have the power to be a racist fuck. I mean, it's some or with hate. Like it's one of those things that are taught into you. You know what I mean? Like just because you're marginalized and don't have power, or maybe you have privilege and power, or vice versa, like that doesn't inherently mean that you can be just naturally a racist, evil, hateful fuck. I mean, I do believe that that is something that is generally taught into people. It's not racist, but racism stuff. It's not that. Oh yeah, 100% for sure. I just want to say my skin is constantly used as an excuse by other lefts, you know, my thoughts and ideas. I think I find that to be a problem. You know, when it's just thoughts by a entire group. Then, yeah, it's just. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, honestly, on that one because like I just don't know if maybe it's leftist necessarily, but that's just anecdotal to me. Because I've talked to so many different leftists, especially at like different like shows and other things, and other people I've talked to, my own experience, where it's like it's just maybe it's just my own personal bias being in Portland. Maybe we're just a little different about it. But like, I mean, in my experience, someone who's like very woke scoldy and like very hyper policey about like various shit, or what even like check your privilege, you white bitch, or whatever, kind of shit. That's from liberals, NIMBYs, and yuppies here in Portland. And they usually are like, also like hyper liberal white suburbanite, weird shits normally. Like like it's very rare for someone on the left to be like that at this point. Like legitimately. This is especially in my experience. It's usually liberals that are mostly like this at this point. And I detest them because it's like you're literally obfuscating from the real brass tacks of the fucking issues at hand. You'd rather fucking, language police and, be fucking sensitive and like, oh, well, instead of actually talking about the brass tacks of shit that needs to be talked about because I'm being fucking blunt with you. But, oh, we gotta be sensitive. It's like, fuck you. Like, shut up. And at this point, you're getting in the way, so step the fuck aside or be on my side, because either way, shut the fuck up. But pick a side here. Which side are you on now at this point? Like, because either way, you're fucking annoying. You fence riding, weird little sensitive bitch ass fuck. Like, ugh. I hate shit like that. And generally, I do believe that liberals are generally a part of that issue. I don't, at least in my experience, leftists aren't really like that. And that doesn't mean that all of them are. I know for a fact there definitely are. But you know what? Like, fuck them. They're such a fringe minority, amongst the majority of leftists and progressives and shit, that they are not worth your time. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, fuck them. Let them be a weird minority that wants to, like, cherry pick every fucking person that actually could be a excellent ally for them, instead. But, like, if they really want to divide themselves like that, then fuck them. It's not our problem. We're here for broader, ultimate, better goals for everybody, right? We're here for, the broader brass tacks. Like, if they want to fucking, like, cherry pick and, have, like, a weird little hissy fit over it, fuck them then. They ain't worth your time. They obviously don't even know how to struggle. They gotta manufacture it themselves. Yep. Want to be little, like, anarcho kitties and shit that sometimes hang out with the punk scene and shit, but they're, like, literally, like, overt yuppie, NIMBY suburbanites. I know about them. Unfortunately, Portland's got a lot of them. And unfortunately sucks. And it's gross. I'm all for logging them alongside fascists. I mean, that depends how fucking backwards they are, to be honest, man. I'm not gonna go that far with it. I'm not that hardcore Iron Gauntlet with it when it comes to libs, even though I detest them extensively. But I do think that, like, at least if you scare them enough, they'll fall in line. That's the thing about a liberal. If you freak them out enough, they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll do what you think. You know, when it comes to a liberal, when you freak out enough, they'll fall in line. Not all of them, but enough of them will. You just gotta freak them out. That's all. Yeah, I'm gonna take a piss real quick, but good song to have an intermission. Truth, honor, faith, and pride, motherfucker. The American way. Liberty walks away and treats it just the American way. Anyway, nice song. Fair sounds trying to want maggot trash to bat around like I'm bored kitten. Well, you should have been in there earlier. There was a few of them around. There, I'm just charging my phone, so I need to bounce it now a little bit. There we go. There we go. The libs lather by the Memphis today goes there and follow the fascists in my mind. Well, hey, you know what they say. Scratch a little bit of fascist bleeds. That there's no one left to trust. Is this happening? Is this real? My body numb, I cannot feel. And all the things are right and whack. All the things in the past. Sleeping is higher on the priority list than controlling men who will never consensually feel the touch of a woman. Facts. Funny enough, man, you should have been in here earlier because there was like a dude that was like, "Hey, you should come over, bro. I got a big tree with a strong rope, and you should hang out, man." And then he even did that with Judge Dredd too. My other mod. Why do I keep saying Drudge? I literally mix Judge Dredd into one word and say Drudge every fucking time. I swear to God. I hope I hope Judge is okay with that. Honestly, I need to start. I hope they're okay with it calling him JD. Even though I'm also, oh God, there's also JD Vance. But you know what? We'll reappropriate it. Wait, what? Don't be disrespectful to the other fellow mod on your squad. Come on now. Judge Dredd is tight, dude. Come on now. I just think they're cool as fuck. They're a friend. That's all. What the fuck? Talk about TJ Kirk. You know, I'm probably gonna see them, and maybe honestly, low key / high key, I might actually see if Phoebes wants to hang out in Portland for a night before going to Seattle for the meetup. Dude, I'm going to that meetup as soon as tickets are available, and I'm taking the VIP tickets. I don't give a fuck because I know Phoebe is, and I'm gonna try to convince her to be like, "Yo, however you gotta do it, I'm taking a train to Seattle. That's how I'm going. So you should come over, spend a night, and then we fucking we both just go straight to Seattle with the train. And then she can figure it out from there. I mean, she could come back, to Portland because I'm going to take a train, the next day. Maybe she got a spot to hang out. Maybe I'll, take a train later in that same evening, depending. I don't know. I actually unironically want to collab with her. I'm not even joking because I've always wanted to hang out with her, and I've always wanted to go to a meetup. And Seattle is. It's we gotta go, bro. We gotta do it. We got to go. It's gotta happen, bro. Has to happen. Gonna get blasted. No, I'm not gonna get booty blasted. I just want to go because it's fucking I've been always wanting to go to goddamn meetup, dude. And also go to a goddamn hang out Phoebes and chauffeur because she's fucking dope as fuck. Excuse-moi, la François. ¿Por qué? Copé pendejo. Ay, cabrón. Wrong with she I'm in a physical store and she's getting momentum. She wants me to invest in it. If I do, I'll never plan to take money. Hold up. If we ever get a chance to talk on Discord and she's hanging out and we have a chance to chat, can I try to pitch her to do that out here in Portland? Because unironically, what she wants to do would easily be profitable up here in the PNW. I'm just saying. Leave it to me to try to egg it on a bit, but I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying, dog. Maybe unironically it would be a good investment to start the business up here. Maybe she should hold on to it and save up more money to really invest into that, to really have yeah, I don't know. Like I said, well, hit me up about this. I want to kind of hear her pitch, actually. She has her heart in the desert. Let me talk to. I don't know. Let's all hang out and chat on Discord sometime. Not tonight or nothing, or I guess technically this morning because I'm starting to see that. But I don't know. On these next couple days, let's hit up. Let's hit it up and see what's up. I haven't talked to her in a minute anyway. I want to still try to convince her and say what's up. She doesn't wake up until 11, 12. That's fine. I don't care. As you can tell, my schedule's fucked up because of my, work and shit. At this point, this is literally how I dictate if I'm, going to bed or not. Depending on how long I'm streaming, basically. This literally is actually, ironically, kind of we're wrapping it up now, if I'm starting to see that. It is actually not as bad as you think it is. It's literally just a lot of the reflective light. Though, to be fair, it does make it look like there's just some insane mountain or cloud shit going on right there. Hey, chunk chunk. Jasu. Oh, y'all approach for this. You want my blueberry donuts? Jazzy up. Jazzy. Jazzy. Jazzy up. Chunk chunk. Jazzy. Jazzy. She's like, well, it's my life now. Big chunk. Big chunk. Oh. Big chunk. This little chunk. I like how she just embraces this. Chunk. Chunk, chunk. Oh. Big old chunk, chunk. Oh, big old chunk. Oh shit. Okay. What's up? Get on my shoulder. She's like, Onk, what are you doing? Oh. Chunk, jazzy. I've been watching you, baby. Let's get chunked up tonight. I don't know. I put T2 as cheesiest action movie. T2? No. What? Nah, don't be like that. T2? No. There's cheesier. Dude, T2 is not even the most cheesiest, bro. Like, nah, bro. Nah. Have you not seen, like, so many of the action and cheesy quotes? Oh my god, literally, no, it's not. Oh my god. Wow. Hyperion, you literally have a take about T2 I've never seen before, and I'm actually like not here for it at all. Hallelujah! I need to purchase with an exorcist. T1's the superior movie, I'm sorry. No, that is a good movie, but now T2 is low-key better. No, don't be no. I just no. It's just cheesy action quotes and movies. No. That's just diabolical. You literally forget that the rest of the Terminator series exists. And I also like the third one, but dude, even that one is more cheesy than the second movie, dude, or the first movie. And the first movie got cheese too. And if you deny that there is, I'm done. Nah, I just deny your fucking claims, bro. They're low stakes T2 than T1. Bull, fuck, shit, bro. Dude, the whole point was that John Connor was supposed to survive because if not, the resistance would not be a thing, dude. What do you mean? Because Kyle Reese went back in time to fuck Sarah Connor and birth, John Connor, and thus, like, do you not know your lore, dog? Excuse me? And now you're like, oh, nah. Oh, wow. Okay, we got to put a pin on this. We're putting a pin. We're putting a goddamn pin on that motherfucker. We're not having this right now. Because this is diabolical, bro. Diabolical, bro. Once this Skynet experiment make more. Nah, dude, honestly, I don't want more movies. Dude, they kind of botched it a little bit, I'm not even gonna lie. God damn. Why is Hank Trill on my playlist? Damn. Than you ever will. Wow, that's a take. I literally have like extensive, like, even deleted stuff. Like, even, dude, my brother, bro, like, actually, like I said, we're putting a pin on it. Putting a pin. We're putting a pin. We're not getting into it now, but we're putting a pin. Also because of that, like I said, as it proceeds to get brighter. Flavor Town. Oh. T1 is in the original timeline. Who? Oh my god. What did timeline? What did I just goddamn say? Goddamn. I put a pin on this convo. Go, man, goddamn. Because I don't agree. Like, I just... Dude, so what's the ultimately original timeline? There had to be original timeline, and T1 was literally the original timeline. That's how it all started. T1 was literally how it all started. And thus created the time paradox. No matter what, from there on out. That's kind of the thing about the Terminator, I will grant. It's like, it can create, like, time paradox shit, because it literally, like, oh, the going back in time shit, and blah, blah, blah. Like I said, putting the pin. But I got arguments. I got positions that I could push for. Are paradoxes? Nah, I don't agree. No. Like I said, we're putting a pin on it. Don't keep it going further. But I'm just saying we're putting a pin because I'm telling you, nope. Those first 3 movies were literally like the original timeline, but beyond that, then it went different. But that's fine. But hey, subjectivity, right? Smoke your pole. Of course, I want to smoke my pole. Don't you, little bitch. Time my picker to my leg. Oh, okay, this is our outro song. I don't even give a fuck. Tie my picker to my leg. It's that big. My picker to my leg and my leg. Tie my picker to my leg. I need the meats in my mouth. I'm here, I'm queer, get used to it. Well, so am I, but goddamn. Tie your pecker to your leg there, boy. Don't be a three-legged beast out here. Jesus. Big daddy and a fucking fool. Tie my pecker to my leg, to my leg. Oh, tie my pecker to my leg. Dude, Mojo mixing is like too goated. I actually want to do this as like a cover song at one point. Tie my pecker to my leg, to my leg. Tie my pecker to my leg. Girl so fine I want to suck her daddy's dick. What the fuck lyric is that? Dude, Mojo Nixon, man. Rest in power, man. Dude, he's such a fucking outlaw, dude. To the gay prepper yesterday, so I'm pretty sure I'm used to it. Gotta tie that pecker to the leg, right? When it comes to a good old pride, oh shit. Dick too big, you might get it all in on that pride. Tie my pecker to my leg, and my leg. Tie my pecker to my leg. Tie my pecker, tie my pecker, tie my pecker, tie my pecker, tie my pecker to my leg. Yeah, me too, probably never had a chance in the South. Full sport, but I'll never go. Oh, yeah, come on, man. You can go. Dude, Portland's literally got a delayed Pride here in like in July instead of June during Pride Month. Our Pride is not in Pride Month. I guarantee you can find one out there in Rio Lancho or some shit, man. And either way, do it like how Stonewall did and burn it down. Burn it down. Don't burn it down. Burn it down. Go bring it down. So I'm gonna smell my. So how you talking about community? Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned it before. Like, it's literally a common solidarity thing when it comes to shit like that. Even with the labor movement too, man. Like, I mean, because the labor movement cares about shit like that too, dude. It's all like according to plan when it comes to the elites, and the solidarity matters more than ever when it comes to shit like that, you know. Regardless of the background. If you're a victim of it, then we're all in the same boat together, regardless. Because we gotta burn it down. Burn it down. Gotta do it some way or another. By the way, if anyone wants to know the band that's playing, it's Clyde and Militaires. They were a part of Bridge City Sinners, but they got their own little jive going on, and they got some good shit. And we'll see what the last song is, because I will at least find myself a little foo-foo, and then Oh, well, speaking of Bridge City Centers, this literally had to be the next song.
Just making sure.
Shit. Good one, too.
My baby there. She was laid out on that long white table. So sweet, so cold, so fair. Where I went up to see the doctor. She's feeling very low, he said. When I went back to see my baby, and good God, she was lying there dead. So let her go, God bless her soul. Wherever she may be, she may search this whole wide world over, and never find a motherfucker like me.
Little beat no boy. I saw you get excited. Come here, boy. Sean is saying, "Never, never find a motherfucker like me." Imagine I since probably audio leak about this. Hey, I'm paying attention to, man, about that shit. Well, what? We're gonna let him win? We're just gonna let him, we're just... I ain't gonna roll over about it. I always will fight to win, when it comes to being against that shit. I mean, that's just how I personally feel. I mean, maybe it's all for naught. But you know what? I will say this much. I'd rather raise hell and fucking be able to say that, like, I at least tried. Because I want to care about people, and I want to fight, to make sure that everyone else, that's even worse off than me, be able to have a better opportunity. And because I do generally have certain privilege, to be able to say that. But that's just me personally. Because I care, and I want to try and empower other people to try to be the same. But that's just me personally, God bless you. We'll never find a motherfucker like me. Oh, big boy. You just don't want him to stop. You just want close. Peter, shut the fuck up. Soon I'm trying to say, nah, don't. I don't know. I mean, don't let that shit, succumb, yourself, right? Like, it's time to get free now. I mean, at a certain point, even if you're the only one, you gotta stand up, right? Why is my playlist, as my outro, literally somehow unintentionally, bopping with everything you were getting into? What the fuck? How's this playlist unintentionally doing this? I fucks with it, but, goddamn, alright. Comes down to... Oh, shit. Oop. Comes down to drum structure. Pretty much full of things goes on. Oh, yeah. That's why you just gotta say fuck them. And like I've said before, I don't have any empathy or sympathy to their asses. I really don't anymore at this point. unless they're like legitimate, like I cannot believe in this anymore. Like I am so like I cannot believe it, kind of shit. Because I've had that happen a couple times, even on my streams. Like, so I can't dog on that. But that's like a dime a dozen. That's like a diamond in a rough kind of thing. Even then, you gotta let them know. But like, you got kind of a long way to go, man. But you're on the right track. You gotta encourage them, but let them know, like, you got some recompense and like some redemption to do, man. I mean, because you can't truly be free, until you really recognize and have the recompense of what you were fucking supporting all this fucking time. Like, I mean, and that's all on me or leftists or anyone else. That's on you. That's on your ass. That's on you to figure it out. And you're already on the right path. We will encourage you, but that's you, dude. Or you gal. Like that's on you to figure it out. And it ain't my fucking goddamn problem to fucking keep you on that path. I'll plant seeds and maybe even fertilize if seeds have already been planted. That's fine. But I'm not gonna like go full fucking Daryl Davis on your ass about it. I do that enough when it comes to certain people on my own time. And I don't have enough patience to do that for fucking everybody. Because these people are a detriment, legitimately. I mean, so if they're able to figure it out, then fine, but I'm still not going to fucking, not blame you for the bullshit you've been doing all this time before. Sorry, just not going to. It's going to take a while for me, to kind of see that shit, Care about my income? 100%. And we should maximize, every opportunity to keep that shit going. Not just for yourself, but for everybody. I mean, the rise of tide raise all ships, right? We should always be raising those, tides, for everybody. I mean, because it's bullshit. I see, Peace, bro. Did you not hear the last little bit I was saying? I don't know if you did or not, but I'm just hoping you did, because, like, I don't know what you mean I see. Because I've been in complete agreement the entire damn time. Just saying. Because I always will be and always am when it comes to my philosophy. No matter what. But considering the light getting brighter, lovely. Well, this got a little weekend, so you don't have to worry about that. But you got business to take care of no matter what. So, let's without further ado, let's wrap it up for now. But we'll be around for the next one for sure, 100%. So, toodaloo for now. But we'll see you all in the next one. So,